are the emotions that stoke the fires of the rivalry, UCLA and Washington. But for the Huskies and the Bruins, these are the memories that fuel that rivalry. 4 years ago, the Huskies sacked UCLA quarterback Tom Ramsey 8 times, handing UCLA its only defeat of the season. In 1983, the Bruins turned the tables on Washington, intercepting a Husky pass near the goal line with less than 1 minute left to preserve a 27-24 victory. Last season, the Huskies turn again. Hugh Millen connected with Lonzell Hill on the bomb as time ran out in the first half, and the Huskies used that play to catapult themselves to a 21-14 win. So today, the rivalry continues. Don James and the Washington Huskies against Terry Donahue and the UCLA Bruins. UCLA versus Washington. And while a trip to the Rose Bowl is no longer possible for either school, there's plenty of incentive for both sides. Terry Donahue and the Bruins are fighting for respect and another bowl trip, while Don James Huskies are hoping that another explosive performance will propel Washington onto the bowl scene New Year's Day. So we're live from Husky Stadium for the Bruins and the Huskies. College football on CBS will continue after this message and a word from your local station.
Sports on Cairo Eyewitness News.
CBS Sports presents college football live from Husky Stadium in Seattle, Washington. It's the UCLA Bruins versus the Washington Huskies. Today's game is sponsored by your Toyota dealer and the all-new sporty Corolla FX16. Who could ask for anything more? Howard Johnson Hotels and Lodges. And by AC Delco, the smart parts. A well-sheltered crowd of better than 60,000 to sell out here at Husky Stadium in Seattle for this important Pac-10 encounter between the UCLA Bruins and the Washington Huskies. For a change, the Rose Bowl is not on the line as these two teams meet. Arizona State took care of that last week with their win over California. They have the clear shot at the Rose Bowl host spot. UCLA and Washington currently share second spot in the Pac-10. But they are playing, Pat Hayden, for an important and perhaps New Year's Day bowl game.
And the bowl people like Washington because they have a very exciting offense, explosive. They're averaging 35 points a game, actually 45 a game here. A big play combination between Chris Chandler and Mo Hill.
Game is underway. Washington facing a 4th down and 3. And the first punt of the day is kicked. And inside the 10-yard line, now bounces back toward the Washington end of the field, but UCLA will take over at its own 11-yard line after Washington received the opening kickoff and managed to get one first down. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Vern Lundquist along with Pat Hayden. We have what passes for balmy weather here in the Pacific Northwest, 45 degrees, but really a kind of a football atmosphere here, Pat.
It really is, and you expect when you come to Seattle, when you're a Los Angeles team, to face this kind of weather. Actually, the UCLA people should be happy it's not pouring rain.
And it is not, and we're back to play now. Just under 13 minutes to go in the first quarter. UCLA has the ball for the first time, and they've got the ball at their own 11-yard line. Matt Stevens is the senior quarterback. Draw play. Gaston Green comes left, knocked down by Darrell Hall, number 40.
Gaston Green, the ball carrier.
As we said, it's a rather typical November day in the Pacific Northwest. 45 degrees, 85% humidity, 86 rather, overcast skies, and winds from the south at 9 miles per hour. 9-yard gain for Gaston Green in the last play. It'll be 2nd and 1 from the UCLA 20-yard line. In the eye, pitch out, Green going left. Gets a block from his fullback, but a fine defensive play by the Huskies, Tom Erlinson, number 46.
Tom Erlinson with the defensive play.
And that'll be short of the first down. Let's meet this UCLA offense now, starting with Matt Stevens.
I think it's important for Stevens really to get off to a solid start, fast start.
Gaston Green has rushed for over 100 yards the last 4 weeks in a row. And Marcus Greenwood replaces the injured Mel Farr at tailback. Mel Farr did not make the trip. Willie Anderson at split end. And the other wide receiver is the senior Carl Durrell. Third down, and Brendan McCracken has replaced Stevens as UCLA goes from the wishbone. McCracken is the quarterback on 3rd and 1. James Primus, the ball carrier, number 23.
It all kind of depends where they mark it, but UCLA has done this all year long in short yardage situations. They brought in the second-string quarterback, Brendan McCracken, who's a real strong, good short yardage runner, and they run the wishbone formation.
McCracken replaced Stevens at quarterback, and take a look at it.
Again, they really have not run the option too much out of the wishbone formation. They use it more as a power formation. Primus there just goes behind, well, it really wasn't too much blocking, but he only needed about a half a yard for the first down, and they gave it to him.
1st and 10, UCLA, 10:15 to go first quarter, no score. Willie Anderson starts in motion. Stevens will throw with a play-action pass. Goes deep right side, kicked away, incomplete. Intended for Derek Tennell, and Tony Zachary, number 25, knocked it away.
The Washington defense really wants to go after Matt Stevens. They've gone after every quarterback they've played this year. Tremendous pass rush. You can see after he passes the ball there, he gets a little bit of a hit, but he's going to see a lot of the turf this afternoon. Washington has put out 5 quarterbacks this season.
That brings up a 2nd down and 10. 10:04 to go first quarter, no score. And again, the flip formation, both wide receivers wide left. UCLA will use a play-action attack, and now Stevens calls time. Maybe perhaps did not call time in time. A penalty flag is down.
Well, you saw Matt Stevens spend an awful lot of time underneath the center, and part of that is Washington's defensive scheme. It's a little bit unusual. They play a 4-man defensive line, which you don't see much in college football. Good ball, delay. Well, those are the kind of little things that can kill you and can drive a coach like Terry Donahue nuts. And again, in my mind, there's no excuse for a delay of game penalty. If you're going to get up underneath the center and call an audible, you got to hustle your team up to the line and get it taken care of.
One of those tiny little things about college football as opposed to the professional ranks also, you've got the 25-second clock instead of the 30. Now, after the penalty, it'll be 2nd down and 15. Quick count, play action again. Stevens has a man open, drills it, and it's a rather poor pass. Knocked down by Reggie Rogers, number 51. Well, you've been keeping track of that Minnesota-Michigan game. Let's get an update from Jim Nance.
All right, Vern, nothing like a little controversy. 4th and goal for Michigan, and watch Gerald White jump in the air. The ball is jarred loose, but they score it as a touchdown. They say he broke the plane. Interesting, Schembechler kicked the extra point, did not go for the 2. 2 minutes to go. Let's go back to Vern and Pat.
All right, Jim, we've got 9:59 to go. First quarter, 3rd and 15. I formation. And again, the play fake. Stevens behind the intended receiver. Carl Durrell, defended by number 4, Art Malone. And the Bruins will have to punt.
And again, I think Matt Stevens needs to get off to a solid start because he's had a very emotional week. There was a story in the Los Angeles papers this week where he feels like he's getting too much criticism this year. It was an emotional week for him. The coaches were a little bit concerned about him, how he was going to react this afternoon.
Harold Barcade is on the punt on 4th down. Andre Riley waits for it at the Washington 40-yard line. Nearly blocked. Riley with a 12.2 yards return average. And this is a good one. Inside the UCLA 45. Carnell Lake, number 31, makes the tackle. A 41-yard punt, 8-yard return. Huskies have the ball.
When McMahon's out, uncertainty sets in. Tomorrow, the turbulent Bears meet the Falcons, a team fighting for a playoff berth. And it all starts with the NFL today on CBS Sports.
We're back at Husky Stadium in Seattle, where a delayed flag was thrown on the punt by UCLA, and Washington was penalized 15 yards for illegal participation. As a result, they marked off the 15-yard penalty, and the Bruins retained possession of the football. All of that happened while we were away. 1st and 10, UCLA. Play fake, and Stevens rolls out. Man is wide open. Marcus Greenwood, the fullback, number 45, up near the 39-yard line.
Terrific play-action fake in here by Matt Stevens. He's been an excellent ball handler all week long. You're going to see the right guard, Onos Wanaveld, number 79, come out and pass protect, too. But the fake to Gaston Green, because he's been so successful this year, has to hold some people inside. And then the fullback, Greenwood, just kind of slipped out in the flat for an easy completion and 8 yards.
2nd down and 2. UCLA after that penalty break. Here's pitch out Gaston Green. Then a dipsy doodle move, but boy, Bo Yates was ready. And he made the initial contact, number 3, for the Washington Huskies.
Boy, it is very difficult to run against this Washington team. Homer Smith, the offensive coordinator for UCLA, told me they felt they're going to have to throw the ball more today. We've seen that more on 1st down here. We've seen them come out and play action pass on 2 different 1st down occasions.
Just to clarify, Pat, while we were in the commercial, UCLA got the ball back. Washington penalized for illegal participation. They had too many men on the field, 12 men on the punt return unit. Now a 3rd down and 2. UCLA in a scoreless 1st quarter. Gaston Green doesn't get it. Brian Habib, number 91. 4th down.
Number 91, Brian Habib. Very good defensive front. You see the 4 defensive linemen there for Washington. Again, you don't see that much in college football. Habib fights off a block right there, just fought off the guard to put the stop on Green in the backfield. That's good defense, good penetration.
So we'll try the punt again. Harold Barkade gets it away. Andre Riley waits at the 19-yard line. Heads left and runs into some trouble at the 26-yard line as Greg Boland, number 91, leads the way down for the Bruins. We have 7:51 to go. A scoreless 1st quarter as Don James prowls the sidelines. Sellout crowd of 60,000 plus gathered here at Husky Stadium in Seattle. I'm Vern Lundquist along with Pat Hayden. Washington and UCLA currently tied for 2nd in the Pac-10. Don James now in his 12th year here in Seattle. And this season's record 7-2. They are undefeated at home, 5-0. 1st and 10, double tight end set. The handoff right side as Tony Covington, number 39, gets the carry. Now that's going to be an important factor today because he's playing in place of the senior Rick Finney, who went out with a shoulder separation last week. That was Weathersby then. A final score.
Now that is a surprise.
Minnesota scores a field goal with 3 seconds left.
Wow. Now that shakes up the bowl picture a little bit.
Doesn't it, though? 2nd and 10. 2nd down and 10. Weathersby is the deep man in the eye. Chandler on the draw play to Vince Weathersby, 2nd carry of this series for the sophomore from Los Angeles. And Greg Boland, number 91, made the tackle. Let's meet this Washington Husky offense, starting with this huge offensive line. Check the weights. Clay Griffith from Miles City, Montana. Garth Thomas at 264 out of Redmond, Washington. Bas Brostek, 272. Zandowski at 296.
He is the best player there. Watch him trap today. Very good trapper.
And Gogan at 300.
My, very large offensive line.
3rd and 5, 6:35 to go. Scoreless 1st quarter. Chandler will throw on 1st down, puts it out, incomplete. Intended for the running back, Vince Weathersby. It'll be 4th down, and the Huskies will have to punt.
Boy, and Craig Rutledge, the strong safety for UCLA, almost picked that ball off because Weathersby tipped the ball a little bit, and Rutledge was a little disappointed with himself that he didn't pick the ball off and score.
That'll bring on Thane Cleland. There's Craig Rutledge.
Well, he's had a sensational year for UCLA, 4 interceptions, leading tackler.
Now Cleland, number 9 on the punt with a 41.4 average. And the deep man will be Darrell Henley. And he's only back at the 33-yard line. Strong breeze blowing from his back.
Coming after him.
Good pick. Excellent. At the 24 to the 26. Jim Wascom. A 44-yard punt. 1 on the return. Bruins have the ball back.
The battle for the conference crown. The Wolverines of Michigan, the Buckeyes of Ohio State. The Big Ten collision of the year kicks off a doubleheader next Saturday on CBS Sports.
Jim Nance in New York, the last play of the game at Ann Arbor. Chiplo Miller of Minnesota from 31 yards. The kick is good, and the Gophers stun Michigan 20-17. Still, next week, the Big Ten title on the line when Michigan goes against Ohio State. Back to Vernon 10.
Well, that's a shocker. We are scoreless here in Seattle. 6:18 to go first quarter. Bruins have it at their own 26-yard line, 1st and 10. High formation again. They fake the pitch, and Stevens now settles for his alternate receiver, Gaston Green. He looked deep, and nobody there.
Well, you're right. He was trying to get the ball deep to Willie Anderson, but the free safety from Washington, Tim Peoples, did a nice job. Stayed at home, didn't get faked out, and picked up Willie Anderson as he tried to go deep.
There's Stevens for the season. 5 of those interceptions came in the first game against Oklahoma. Went through the next 7 with only 2, and then tossed a critical interception to Toy Cook of Stanford last week. It's 2nd down and 10, 6:12 to go first quarter. That interception last week led to the go-ahead Stanford with a winning chance to touchdown. How's this for a little dipsy-doodle? The inside handoff goes to Mike Farr, number 9. And it doesn't work for much as the Washington Husky defense stayed home.
But what they're trying to do is really keep the Washington defensive line, which is so aggressive, from charging off the ball. Watch the right offensive lineman as they pulls. Juan Aveld is number 79. Kidder is number 70, coming right into the hole. Actually, Mike Farr had a little bit of a hole inside, but bounced it outside. Really should have cut back inside. He would have picked up a larger gain.
Now James Primus comes in on 3rd down and 7. 84 yards per game. An average given up by Washington. Play fake. Stevens pulls up, lets it go. Intercepted. Picked off by Bo Yates, number 3. That is his 3rd of the season. And it is the 9th interception thrown by Matt Stevens this year.
But credit that sack to that interception to Reggie Rogers. He's the one that put the pressure on Matt Stevens and made him hold the ball a little bit longer than he wanted. Watch Matt Stevens as he comes back. Reggie Rogers has been a terror on quarterbacks all year long. He's going to come to the screen, number 51. The ball gets delivered late. Bo Yates is just lying back, reading Stevens' eyes, and picks off his 3rd interception of the year.
Bo Yates gets number 3 out of Lebanon, Oregon. It's a 1st down at the 43-yard line. Scoreless first quarter, 5:27 to go. Chris Chandler, the junior quarterback from Everett, Washington, fakes the draw, looks deep, and fires that way incomplete. Intended for Lonzel Hill, number 1, at the 27-yard line.
This is what you can see Washington do today. Try to get the ball right there to their best receiver, Lonzel Hill, underneath on drag routes. Now, they started off the year very successfully against Ohio State and BYU on short drag routes to Lonzel Hill. The defenses took that away, then they tried to go downfield. So this is the first week in about 4 or 5 weeks they're going to try to throw to Hill underneath the coverage.
2nd and 10, no score, first quarter. Again, the eye. Short man to the right side. Option play. They give it to the first man through. It's Weathersby on the dive, and he picks up just a couple. Tackle was made by Melvin Jackson, number 59, who had come in as an alternate for UCLA.
You mentioned an interesting thing. That's the first option on the option play, the dive option. And you would think with Washington's big offensive line that they could power people and just root you out. But Don James told us that they really have not been able to recruit the tailback that can sit back there in the I formation and overpower you. So he's had to go to a little bit more option football this year.
3rd and 8. Look at that offensive line that weighed 282 average against the defensive line that averages 240. 5-man rush. Chandler gets rid of it. It'll be overthrown as he was under terrific pressure from UCLA.
And people are complaining that Craig Rutledge kept the receiver from getting the ball here. Again, pretty good pass rush here by UCLA. Although they are not big, they got very good quickness. Number 41 is Ken Norton, who came right up the middle. Toomey, number 40, comes in a little bit late. And Craig Rutledge had a little bump job there with Rod Jones. But unlike professional football, you can do that downfield some.
Thane Cleland is on to punt into the teeth of that brisk breeze coming from the east. As this is an unusual stadium configuration, it runs east to west. Henley is back. Nice high kick by Cleland. Fair catch called by Darrell Henley. Grabs it at the 9. sets it down on the 10. So the interception does not cost UCLA. They hold and get the ball back. .4:31 to go first quarter. Matt Stevens back in the cockpit. 1st and 10 UCLA at the 10. No score. 4:31 to go first quarter. Draw play. Gaston Green nailed by Reggie Rogers. Number 51 was all over Gaston Green. Matt Stevens has had a controversial week. He was the subject of an article written by Thomas Bonk in the LA Times in which he said he'd had problems being a quarterback at UCLA. He talked about that yesterday.
Oh, it's the toughest thing in the world. It's like being the president of the United States, you know. They always catch a faltering, but, you know, they're always watching. You can never make a mistake. But it's the best place in the world to play quarterback. And I would never give it up. And I'm very lucky and fortunate enough that I play quarterback in LA because it is something that you can be proud of when you're older.
Gaston Green on the carry, and of course, Pat Hayden, I know you can't relate at all to what Matt Stevens is talking about.
I've been booed by most people in Los Angeles, but I think Matt is kind of thinks that he's Mark Wilson a little bit. Mark Wilson is the quarterback in town who's really getting all the criticism, and Matt has actually played pretty well for UCLA this year. I don't think the criticism has been too bad or too unjust.
3rd down and 4. 3:22 to go. Scoreless first quarter. Option play. Stevens pitches it back. Doesn't work. 4th down. Tim Peoples, number 26, one of the senior co-captains of this Husky squad, made the tackle.
Boy, UCLA is trying to run the option play, again, to try to take away some of the aggressiveness. But watch how many purple jerseys are going to be around first Matt Stevens and then Gaston Green. But Tim Peoples, number 26, comes up from the free safety position. Art Malone, number 4, also a corner from the defensive backfield, coming up to put the stop.
Harold Barcade on the punt from the goal line. Pressure's coming, but Barcade gets it away and rides the wind. Andre Riley at the 33. Can't get a lot. He is out to the 40-yard line. And the Huskies get it back with 2:29 to go, a 52-yard punt, and 7 on the return. Well, we are scoreless in the first quarter here in Seattle. There is the upset of the day, Minnesota and Michigan, and that will have all kinds of implications, not just for the Rose Bowl spot, but other games, particularly Penn State, Notre Dame.
Wow, that's a big game, obviously, as well.
Oklahoma leading Colorado, so it looks like the Buffs will not be going to the Orange Bowl, and Nebraska leading Kansas at the half. Arkansas leads A&M. Aggies can cinch a Cotton Bowl berth if they win today. Handoff goes to Tony Covington, number 39. Scramble for the ball.
There's a fumble there. I think UCLA has it.
They do indeed. Well, we mentioned a while ago that Covington is playing in place. Jim Waller is down, number 66 of UCLA.
Boys, and as he played well for UCLA over the last few weeks, played superbly last week against Stanford. Left shoulder.
Let's take a look at Covington, who is playing in place of the senior Rick Penny.
Terry Toomey, the nose guard for UCLA, he really factors into today's game. We've seen him put some early pressure on Chris Chandler. Here he gets double-teamed. And when you double-team, that's the best thing to do. Just go down on all fours, try to take up 2 people. The ball comes loose right there. Can't really see what's happening to Waller. One of the UCLA defenders made the recover. But Toomey did a nice job of occupying 2 offensive linemen.
Jim Waller is still down, number 66.
But, you know, interesting point. You wonder how much Washington misses Finney. You got a guy, a big, strong fullback, 240 pounds, who doesn't fumble much, tough inside runner. And his replacement right there, Covington, is the one who made the fumble.
There's Jim Waller, the defensive tackle out of San Jose, who is the injured player for the Bruins. Your point is well taken. He's played very well the last month.
Been a great short yardage player, and then against Stanford last week, had a couple of sacks, put a lot of pressure on John Pay. Played very well.
Well, he'll walk off with just a minimum of assistance. And the important factor here is that the Bruins, other than Waller's injury, is that the Bruins have evened up the turnovers at a 1 apiece now.
Number 66 right there is Jim Waller. He's the man with in the circle, obviously. See if we can have a look at see what happens. His left shoulder gets hit low. He's the one who really forced the recovery. Can't really see what happened there, but he forced the fumble.
UCLA has the ball at the 42. High formation. Stevens with a play fake. Left side.
Good.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Carl Durrell.
Boy, that is good footwork there by Carl Durrell. And a well-thrown ball by Matt Stevens because there was pretty good coverage, both deep and underneath. This is a very difficult throw for a quarterback because not only do you have to be concerned about the cornerback deep, you have to worry about the outside linebacker who's screaming out there knowing that you're throwing the underneath route.
Matt Stevens is 2 for 7 in the first quarter. We've got 2:12 to go, and UCLA's most serious threat of the game. First 10 at the 30. Paco Craig, number 26, in motion. They fake the pitch, give it to the fullback Greenwood. He slips and falls and gets back to the line of scrimmage.
And one of the differences that UCLA is going to face today is playing on AstroTurf. Their normal field is grass. On grass, you can make that cut. You can plant that the cleat into the turf and make the cut backside, and UCLA is a great cutback team. On AstroTurf, you can't do that as much, particularly up here where it's a little bit damp and moist.
Did you hate playing up here?
Oh, yes. It was generally pretty wet when I came up here, but we didn't throw the ball much of those days, just handed off to the big horses behind me.
Second down, 11. 96 seconds to go first quarter. Stevens with one of the few straight drop back passes you'll see. It's incomplete.
But again, Reggie Rogers all over Matt Stevens after he throws the ball. Reggie Rogers and Matt Stevens are going to spend a lot of time together today, I guarantee it.
Reggie, of course, came to Washington on a basketball scholarship, played for Marv Harshman as a freshman and sophomore, and then doubled up as a football player, and now is a nominee for the '86 Lombardi Award and a potential first-round draft choice a year ago.
Just does not stay blocked. Just keeps coming after you.
He is the younger brother of Don Rogers of the Cleveland Browns and UCLA, who died of a drug overdose last spring, and has dedicated the season to him. Third down and 11. Stevens in a bit of a jam. He's not the most nimble quarterback you'll see, and he comes up just short of the first down as Bo Yates makes the tackle.
He knows how close he was, not only to just getting the first down, but really sprinting the way into the end zone. He's the kind of quarterback that can move around the pocket and buy himself a little bit more time, but doesn't have great straight flat-out speed. Big opening here because Washington plays a lot of man-to-man coverage, and that's why there's no defensive backs in it. Watch the reaction. Matt Stevens saw nothing but goal line in front of him. David Franey for a 40-yard effort. He is 12 of 14 this year. David Clinton will hold. It's blocked. Mike Gaffney, number 15, a senior from Everett, Washington, number 12, rather. Watch number 12. Mike Gaffney from the upper right corner of the screen. He's going to come right through Washington, spend so much time on their special teams under Don James. Franey, who's really been sensational kicking this year, a breakdown on the protection very quickly. Number 12 came right through to block the kick. Mike Gaffney is a senior small cornerback who, as a high school player for the Everett Seagulls, caught passes for that man, Chris Chandler. Now he's a third-team defensive back. Here comes Weathersby to the 30-yard line. So talking about special teams, I think the Pacific 10 Conference has been changed by Don James's emphasis on special teams. When he came here, 12 years ago, 13 years ago, he put a real premium on special teams. His teams have won many, many games by blocking kicks, blocking punts, or playing just good, solid special teams. As a matter of fact, he feels that of the 11 games they play every year, 9 of those he has to win in the special games category. And he told us yesterday that by his record right now, his team is 7-2 in special teams play. That's exactly what their season record is. Maybe the final play of the first quarter, Chandler, inside handoff, the ground game not working for Washington. Tony Covington makes the carry, gets to the 30-yard line. That's the final play of the first quarter. We'll return to Husky Stadium in Seattle, Washington, after this message and a word from your local station. Let's take an end zone look now at Mike Gaffney, number 12, on the left-hand side of the screen as he breaks through and gets a clean block on the field goal effort of David Franey. There's the block to the right side. Franey last week in the loss to Stanford had an extra point blocked, and watch the frustration on his face
as the Washington Huskies get the ball back, and they've got it right now in quarter number 2 with a 3rd and 5. Chris Chandler, play fake, will throw, drills it, caught by Ronzel Hill, first down at the 43. Craig Rutledge, number 30, made the tackle.
Ronzel Hill couldn't help but catch that ball. That was a frozen rope by Chris Chandler. As soon as Hill turned around, the ball was there. Ronzel Hill has a real good knack of finding a little open space in an area. It's a little hook pattern off the play-action fake on 3rd and 5. The tight end is dragging across, and as soon as Hill had turned around, the ball was there. Very good throw by Chandler. It's tough to defend a pass like that when the ball gets there that quickly.
Ronzel Hill will get a rest. His little brother, J.D. Hill Jr., is being a redshirt this year. And, of course, Dad was a great pro player with a number of teams. Started out of Buffalo, out of Arizona State. 1st and 10, Washington Huskies, no score, early 2nd quarter. Putbacks this time as Chris Chandler begins to mark out the count. Mark Larson is in at center now for the Huskies. This is Vince Weathersby, number 22. And the sophomore picks up a couple.
One of the things Washington is trying to do on offense is move their tight end around, send him in motion to different sides of the field, because they're concerned about the nose tackles for UCLA, how they can offset. They try to get off the center and slant and get into gaps. They feel by moving their tight end in motion, they can get an advantage away from the slant of the nose tackle and pick up some big gains off tackle.
Be a 2nd down and 8 now for the Huskies. 2nd and 7 officially, they'll call it. Chandler falls on it, and it'll be a loss of about 4.
Well, you're seeing some very uncharacteristic things, I think, from a Don James type of team here. We've seen a fumble by Covington. We've seen Chris Chandler fumble the exchange from center. We've seen a penalty on a punt. Don James is the type of guy that is very disciplined, well-coached team. His team generally wins by defense, special teams. This year, their offense has been much more explosive.
Penn State 7-3 now, and Oklahoma still leading, as is Nebraska. 3rd down and 11. See what Chandler has in mind and what UCLA might do defensively. They send 5. Chandler reads it, comes left. Ron Jones, the tight end. Fumble, UCLA has it. 2nd fumble by the Huskies in the 1st half. Brian Jones, a freshman from Lubbock, Texas.
Well, Rod Jones, number 84, the tight end, who's been a sensational receiver, 23 receptions coming into the ball game, runs a little out pattern as he pushes off Brian Jones, number 42, makes the catch, and then good tackling there by UCLA. This is the thing that UCLA, Craig Rutledge, number 30, is the one that forced the fumble. 42, Brian Jones makes the recovery. And
Chris Chandler.
He was definitely not happy. He's saying he was down.
UCLA 1st down, still no score. 13:03 to go, 1st half. Matt Stevens pitch out. Gaston Green goes left, looks for blocks from Greenwood, gets one, and can't break the tackle at the 47. Boy, he was a whisker away from a ton.
I like that. I like the way you say that. A whisker away from a ton. One of the concerns Terry Donahue had today was about getting his team psychologically ready to play. And he told me yesterday he wasn't sure whether this team could get beaten by 50 points or play it close, but the defense certainly is playing with a great deal of enthusiasm.
Ohio State, Wisconsin, Maryland leading Clemson. Our score, nothing. 12:30 to go, 1st half. 2nd down, Stevens hands it off to Gaston Green. That'll bring up another 3rd down. Bo Yates, number 3, makes the tackle. And Pat, just to go back to that point, the ground attack has not been there for either team so far.
Again, a very tough Washington front, the 4-down linemen, which is really difficult to run against with any kind of consistency. And actually, the 2 teams that have beaten Washington this year are teams that have been able to establish some sort of running game, Arizona State and Southern Cal.
Matter of fact, Don James told us yesterday he didn't take too much pride in that yards per rush average because they played mostly passing teams this year. 3rd and 4, UCLA. From the 48, Stevens bobbles the snap, gets it back. Almost picked off again. Right in the hands of Tom Erlandson, who was that far from getting his first interception of the year.
You know, one of the other things, we're going to take a look at Carl Durrell here in the isolation, who was actually open, but I think one of the problems here is Durrell releases past number 3, Bo Yates, gets into a little bit of an open spot, but again, because of the rush, Matt Stevens had to step up into the pocket, and the ball wasn't thrown when Durrell was open.
Harold Barcade has had 3 punts blocked this year. He is back at the 35. 2-man rush. Just missed it. Andre Riley at the 10. Good downfield coverage by UCLA. Alan Dial, number 27.
Boy, this is the difference in special teams play, and if there was any question about UCLA's emotion after getting knocked out of the Rose Bowl race a week ago, I think that's been answered thus far. Dial puts the stop inside the 10-yard line of the Washington Huskies. We'll be back in just a moment.
Well, if you're a Husky fan, you got your choice. You can get the hat or you can get the nose.
Now, my kids are going to want some of those. I know that.
You got to bring some home. They're available for $2.95 each. Side against Weathersby, the sophomore from Los Angeles, into the arms of Ken Norton, number 41. Well, if you've been with us most of the day, you're aware that we're conducting a poll today on whether you would like to have a national championship game. And if you'd like to vote, it'll cost you 50 cents a call. You vote yes by dialing 1-900-220-2111. If you like things as they are, 1-900-220-2112.
Very good operator you are.
I hope I remembered the last number correctly. It's 2nd down and 8. Chris Chandler in trouble. He's playing with a partially separated shoulder and don't think he wants to find himself in too many running situations.
Well, he said he felt fine until the trainer told him that he had that separated shoulder. Great rush by Eric Smith, number 98. Right part of the screen. Number 98, he leads the Pac-10 in sacks. Now, this is a bull rush. You're going to see him just run right through Weathersby, number 22, and right back into Chandler's face. Pushes Weathersby right back, tries to grab him over the top, and chases him out of the pocket. That's a great rush by Eric Smith. What a bull.
Scoreless first half, 10:18 to go, 3rd down, 11. Washington Huskies with a 7-2 record, facing a 6-3 UCLA team. Franklin starts in motion, and they'll keep it on the ground. Weathersby spins out of one tackle into another. It'll be 4th down. This time the Huskies will punt with the wind behind them, as Carnell Lake and Ken Norton, numbers 31 and 41, collaborate on the tackle. Well, we've had everything but scoring so far. Blocked field goal, fumbles, pass interception.
Well, UCLA on offense has the chance for a big play offensively just because of the way the Washington defense plays its scheme. Now, they're going to put a rush on there. They're going to get some people in Matt Stevens' face, but if they can give him a little bit of protection, this man-for-man coverage, he can come up with a big play.
Thane Cleland will punt with the wind behind him for the first time. His 4th kick. Not a particularly good one. Henley at the 46 of UCLA bounces off his own man. Now watch out! Out of bounds at the 32-yard line. Brian Slater caught up with him. A 21-yard return of a 41-yard punt. Watch the effort of Darrell Henley again.
And Lonzel Hill, number 1, is right there in the screen, who has a shot at Henley right there. Has him by the ankle. And then Henley did a nice job of spinning away, actually, from all the purple jerseys and went the other way for the big game. That's what it's going to take today for UCLA to win a ball game.
9:15 to go in the half. We're live at Husky Stadium in Seattle. Vern Lundquist, Pat Hayden, a scoreless first half in this Pac-10 game. 9:15 to go. And UCLA with a big return from Darrell Henley has a first down at the 32. Stevens fakes the pitch, looks deep, he'll scramble. Nice little move by Matt Stevens. He's down at the 25-yard line. Tackle made by the linebacker David Rill, number 38.
That play is really set up by pitching the ball to Gaston Green like they've done today, but what they're trying to do is fake the pitch there and pull the free safety, Tim Peoples, out of the way, and then get the ball to Willie Anderson.
Reggie Rogers a little slow getting up back behind the line of scrimmage.
But Jim Lambright, the defensive coordinator for Washington, doesn't think there's a better defensive lineman in the country than Reggie Rogers. He's really done everything for them, really matured over the last 3 years here at Washington.
Rogers is out of the lineup. He looks on as UCLA comes to the lineup with a 2nd down and 3. Martin Harrison has taken Rogers' place for the Washington Huskies. 8:45 to go first half, no score.
Audible by Stevens.
Option play. Stevens keeps. He'll score! Touchdown, Matt Stevens.
Very nice audible by Matt Stevens. And number 46, Tom Erlinson, the inside linebacker from Washington, ran right by Matt Stevens. And that's what the option can force you to do, is play a little bit more disciplined defense.
Boy, that is really a surprise coming from Matt Stevens.
He is not a great option runner, not great foot speed, but the real part of it was he audibled into this play, saw something that he liked on the option, and then the defensive linebacker, Erlinson, ran right by Stevens, and he prances into the end zone. Heads-up play by Stevenson.
That may give him his biggest kick of the season because he's been replaced on 3rd and short by McCracken because of his lack of running ability. Here is Franey's kick. It's up, and it is good. Watch this 25-yard run for the touchdown. Matt Stevens' first rushing touchdown in his career.
And again, you see number 46 ran right by Matt, and this is what the UCLA offense is trying to do, is take away some of that aggressiveness by forcing them to play disciplined option defense.
Henley's punt return set it up. Stevens' 25-yard TD got them on the board. .33 to go in the first half. Matt Stevens' 25-yard gallop has put UCLA on top. Alfredo Velasco, number 25, kicks it off. David Coy fumbles it, gets a hop, picks it up, and here we go to the 39. Go back and take another look, Pat Hayden, at the touchdown run of Matt Stevens.
And you see 46, Tom Erlinson, run right by Stevens. He wasn't sure whether he had the quarterback or the tailback, so he tried to take a little bit of both of them. Realized he should have taken the quarterback, and that's why Stevens scored, because that was Erlinson's man to prevent him from going into the end zone.
As a result, the Huskies trail 7-0. They were behind last week in the first half to Oregon State before coming back to win. There are 6 Bull Scouts on hand here today. And off to Weathersby. Big hole out to the 50-yard line. Tackle made by Craig Rutledge, number 30 of the Bruins.
Good blocking by the inside of the Washington defense. Vern Bostek, the center. Mike Sandowski, the right guard, really did a nice job of creating a little bit of a gap there for Weathersby to pick up the first down. Weathersby is the kind of a guy, Vernon, that doesn't have great vision. They like to get him really on the outside of the option play where he didn't have to make a lot of decisions by trying to see the whole field.
That's a first down on the ground for the Huskies. First down and 10 from the 49 now officially of UCLA. And Chandler will throw. The junior quarterback flips it out. Caught by his tailback Weathersby. Evades a couple of tackles. A nice elusive run. And another first down to the 39. Before Frank Batchkoff, number 92, made the tackle.
Well, you hit the nail on the head there. Weathersby is elusive. Again, he's not a great power back. He's not going to outrun you. But he slips tackles, makes a lot of guys miss. That was a perfect example right there.
That's his 22nd catch this year. And for Chris Chandler, 6 out of 10 now for 57 yards. As Terry Donahue looks on. Terry very concerned with the state of his team coming into this game. The Wizard of Worry was in his element. Cloudy skies, gloomy aspirations. Here's Chandler to throw deep, loves to do it. Lonzel Hill, intercepted in the end zone, picked off by Chucky Miller.
Say what, even though that ball was thrown and it was intercepted, I don't think it's necessarily a disastrous play for Washington because it's going to set up some other things. Pretty good protection here for Chris Chandler. He's trying to get the ball to Darrell Franklin, number 7. Chucky Miller is playing deep coverage. Very well covered the whole way, and then makes a pretty nice catch on the ball. Not only did he cover Franklin well, but made a great catch as well. But even the threat of the deep ball has to concern you as a defensive back. So now they have to be concerned about some shorter out routes as well.
First interception of the year for Chucky Miller. UCLA gets it back at the 20. 7:11 to go. Las Vegas numbers in the first half. And a 7-0 UCLA lead. Another audible by Matt Stevens. And he's got to battle this vibrant crowd here at Husky Stadium. Steve Albert makes the tackle, number 93. Now let's go to Jim Nance in New York with this update on Clemson and Maryland.
All right, Vern, ACC leader Clemson has tied up the Terps. Rodney Williams, a 1-yard keeper, 7-7, 14 minutes left first half. Back to Vern and Pat.
Our score 7-0 here, 6:45 to go in the first half. UCLA now with a second down and 8 and a 7-0 lead. Oh, this crowd can really get noisy. Stevens, play fake. Doubles it out and gets it complete to Gaston Green, short of the first down at the 26-yard line. Tackle is made by David Rill, number 38.
But do you see how the pass rush is really disrupting the rhythm, the timing of the passing? Because again, Matt Stevens' outside pressure has to step up into the pocket, and by that time the receivers are covered. What you like to do is get back there, plant, and fire the ball right now. But he can't. Too much outside pressure, so he steps up and does a nice job of dumping the ball off, but couldn't get the ball downfield.
That brings us a third down and 3. UCLA from their own 27-yard line. 4-man front for the Huskies. Green comes to the short side of the field and is knocked off his feet at the 28. It'll be 4th and 2. Brian Habib, number 91, led the defensive charge.
Gaston Green, we talked about the way he can cut back. He does have great vision. He's going to try to cut back here, but watch as he can't. There's too much pursuit, too many purple jerseys there. He tries to cut back inside. There's just too many people on defense. They stop him before the first down.
Barcade nervously looking at this potential rush. Here they come, just miss again. Andre Riley, excellent special teams downfield coverage by the UCLA Bruins. 5:09 to go in the first half. A 37-yard punt with no return.
Experience, knowledge, trust. For over 10 years, the undisputed leader. The NFL Today on CBS Sports.
Here's something to put in the back of your mind as you watch the game. Harold Barcade of UCLA has had 3 blocked, 2 by Arizona. And watch how close Washington has come again this time, and they're not sending 9 or 10 guys.
And you have to be concerned about that, because even when you start protecting, then Washington has a very good punt returner in Riley as well. Has returned 1 for a touchdown this year.
The only score of the game, a 25-yard scamper by UCLA quarterback Matt Stevens. Now Chris Chandler, his Washington counterpart, has the ball and drops back after giving it off. Nice run. Tony Covington, the sophomore from Portland, number 39.
There's Jay Roberts. What a great special team player he is. 24 years old, turned 24 yesterday. Was recruited by Washington in 1981, but played baseball in the Atlanta Braves organization for 4 years. Came back and walked on.
Huskies have a first down as the clock winds under 5 minutes. 4:45 to go first half. Washington trails 7-0. And they give it off to the fullback, Covington. And again, he is playing in place of the senior from Snohomish, Rick Finney. Finney is on the bench with a shoulder separation.
One of the things Washington wanted to do was play off the shade of Terry Toomey. He's the nose guard, number 40 in white. Now, see, he's offset of the guard a little bit. What he likes to do is shoot the gap to his right. And what Washington wants to do is shift their tight end from left to right there and then cut back on the angle blocks. They feel they have an advantage that way.
Second down and 7. 7-0 UCLA. Toomey moving a little bit prematurely, gets back and gets set. The option play, nice pick by Chandler. Great defensive play. As Weathersby is tackled by Craig Rutledge, who has been all over the place.
He really has. And the difference, though, so far has been UCLA's ability to defend the option, both right there, and Washington's inability to defend the option play by Matt Stevens earlier in the second quarter.
But Gordy Lockbaum is having a big day for Holy Cross as they try to go 10-0 for the year. And you see other scores from the East. A third down and 7 now. Chandler so far at 7 of 12 in the first half. Coming up, the Prudential College Football Report with Jim Nance. That's 3.5 minutes away. Blitz coming from UCLA. Chandler reads it, lobs it out. Lonzel Hill can't get there. Had to wait on the ball as Chris Chandler was under terrific pressure to get rid of it.
And that was a great play, though. Great try by Chandler, just getting the ball off. Strong safety blitz by Craig Rutledge. Inside blitz. You're going to see Rutledge, number 30, coming from the outside. Well, he's right there in the part of the screen. He is the strong safety who's just played very well so far today. There's some inside pressure also by UCLA, but Chandler knows he's got one-on-one with Lonzel Hill. Now, isn't it interesting, too, even after that earlier pass was intercepted, they came right back to it and tried to go deep. I like that kind of call.
And that is a little unusual for Husky football, isn't it?
You don't think of Don James as a riverboat gambler, but this year he's changed his scheme offensively.
Thane Cleland to Darrell Henley. That'll bounce and go into the end zone. Touchback UCLA. They'll get the ball at the 20-yard line.
A 51-yard punt.
That is a 51-yard punt for Cleland.
In the third quarter, Oregon State 10, BYU 7.
And Matt Stevens talks it over with his head coach, Terry Donahue. Interesting, Pat, we were talking about that controversial article involving Stevens in the LA Times. Terry Donahue ordinarily doesn't read the newspapers, I understand. Once it was published, Stevens made a beeline for his office and said, Coach, we got to talk.
And apologize to the team as well.
Stevens with the only touchdown of this game. First down at the 20, and another audible. Vociferous crowd. There's the first option. Goes to the fullback, Marcus Greenwood, number 45, and he doesn't get anything.
And Marcus is saying, well, why did you audible that play? I mean, I got hit by 10 guys. What'd you see?
Well, we've been conducting a poll this afternoon about whether you folks would like to see a national championship game. And 93% of those of you who have called have said yes, you would. 7% have said no. And Jim Nance will update you on all of that coming up at the half.
You like to see a championship game?
I definitely would.
Me too.
I definitely would. I don't get equivocal about that at all. Option play, Stevens. Boy, he pays the price. Fumble. And the Huskies get it back. Nose tackle, Steve Allmer.
This was caused by quick pressure on Matt Stevens. You're going to see some real quick pressure on the option play, and then the ball is pitched behind Gaston Green. He takes a smack again by Reggie Rogers, and the ball comes loose. It was a poor pitch, but you always have to be concerned about getting hit by Reggie Rogers.
Chris Chandler calls for quiet, which he will get. First down at the 19. 2:24 to go in the first half. Up the middle, Vince. Weathersby inside the 10.
A straight little dive play off the option. 22 Weathersby gets a nice block by his center, Brostek, and then just kind of carries a couple of guys. He is a very hard guy to bring down. He is a strong runner, 205 pounds.
Washington has all 3 timeouts left. We've got 2:10 to go first half, and they have a first and goal.
Washington likes to run the option play inside the 10-yard line.
See what Chandler has in mind. They're on the far hash mark. There's the option play. Covington to the 2. Covington got a lot of action late last year when Rick Fenny was out with an injury, but Fenny has been healthy this season until this game. So Covington hasn't played that much.
Remember, the option has 3 different plays. This is just the first one, the dive, and until UCLA stops it, they're going to just keep seeing it. Number 75, Zendowski, put a tremendous block on the linebacker there that allowed him to pick up the yardage down to the 2-yard line.
Covington a lot smaller than is his Fenny. Look at that right side, 296 and 300 in the offensive line. At tackle and guard, that's where they go. Covington, a foot away.
They run the wishbone down here inside the 5-yard line, and what Washington does is take much bigger line splits to try to create some gaps there to run the option play. Much bigger splits than they do down in the middle of the field. See, there's a little bit bigger line splits there by the offensive lineman. That creates a little bit of a gap for the option play, and the defense really has a lot more area to cover on the inside dive.
Chris Chandler will talk it over on the sideline with Don James. We'll be back. We're back, and on third down, the Washington Huskies send Tony Covington into the line, and he is caught short. It'll be 4th and a foot.
You know, give the UCLA defensive fronts some credit. All year long, they have faced offensive lines much larger than they are. Starting with Oklahoma in the beginning game of this season. They're outweighed by 40 pounds today. But when push came to shove right there, they stuck the offensive line, and caused them to think about it on 4th down. I think Washington really should go for it here. The Rose Bowl's out of reach here.
Well, they have taken their second time out. They've got one left, so Chandler goes over on 4th down to talk to Don James.
Last week, twice they ran Chris Chandler on the option play where he kept the ball for touchdowns.
Are you suggesting they ought to do that again?
Yeah, until somebody stops it, I think so, yes.
All right. It'll be 4th and a yard. They actually lost a couple of feet on that last play. And Frank Batchkoff, number 92, was the man for UCLA who made the last tackle. So with 1:05 to go in the first half, the Huskies have 4th and a yard and will go for it. Scouts from 6 bowl games are here looking on. 4th and 1. Quick down. Second man. Touchdown. Weathersby gets it. Touchdown on the ground this year for the sophomore from Los Angeles.
And the second option on the option series, we saw the dive, and this is kind of a double dive, which is a power play off tackle, which got him into the end zone.
Jeff Jager is on to try the extra point. He's only 4 field goals away from John Lee's NCAA record. Has been bothered by a left ankle. Bad left ankle. Here's Jager. Nothing wrong with that. That ties it up at 7-7.
Here of Washington. We've seen the dive earlier. This is the second option where they fake the first dive and then give it to Weathersby off the right side. UCLA had stuffed the dive on the play before, so they came right back with a second option. Now watch Rod Jones, number 84 at the top of the screen there. He's throwing the key block. He just pushes his man back. That is Eric Smith, I believe, who created the play, created a little bit of a hole right there, and the Weathersby is a very happy young man.
And I'll tell you how effective the fake was by Chandler. After Covington was stopped, Darrell Henley jumped up in joy for UCLA backfield, then realized, oh my gosh, it's the wrong guy.
You know, the option play inside the 5-yard line, you see lots of college teams do that because, again, defensive teams are so charged up. They want to get across the line of scrimmage, but the option forces you to play disciplined football, and you can't afford to do that or you make mental mistakes.
We're 61 seconds away from the half. Carnell Lake and Darrell Henley back to return the kickoff of Thane Cleveland. 7-7 ball game as the Huskies go 19 yards in 5 plays after the fumble recovery gave them the ball. Lake will let that go into the end zone. It'll be a touchback, come out to the 20.
Down in the end zone, touchback.
Penn State leads Notre Dame at the half. We're tied 7-7. A 25-yard touchdown run from that man, Matt Stevens, and Vince Weatherby's 1-yard run on 4th down.
I think what you're going to see here with 1 minute and 1 second left, UCLA still has 3 timeouts. If they can get a quick first down, then I believe they'll try to get something going and get something on the scoreboard before halftime.
Barry Donahue looks on. Rick Neuheisel, the former UCLA quarterback, to his right. Stevens will hand it off. Gaston Green out near the 35. By the way, Eric Ball, who was such a sensation in the Rose Bowl last January 1st and has had a terrifically disappointing season because of injuries, didn't even make the trip up here and is probably out for the year.
Boy, they sure could have used Eric Ball last week when they had that 4th and 1 against Stanford, which really was the difference of them being in the Rose Bowl hunt today or not.
Second down and 5. 7-7 game. Gaston Green comes right to the 25. No gain.
They'll run the clock out now.
Word from the bench on defensive end Jim Waller is that he has a pinched nerve in his neck and probably will not be back. Jim Waller, number 66 at UCLA. Green now with 25 yards, but that's been accomplished on 14 carries.
2 turnovers by UCLA in the first half, really one of them leading to Washington's touchdown. UCLA's defense has played very, very well.
Both touchdowns came in this second period, and the first was a 25-yard run by UCLA quarterback Matt Stevens.
Again, the option play, this was an audible by Stevens, a heads-up play. His man who was supposed to take Stevens was 46, Erlingson, the linebacker, who ran right by him, and that freed him up for the sprint in the end zone. Now, Washington came back and ran an option play as well for their touchdown. They faked the dive, played it to the fullback Covington, and then Weathersby is the second option. Got a nice block by the tight end Rod Jones on the right of the screen there, and that allowed Weathersby to spin into the end zone for the score.
That game with just over a minute remaining in the half, and that tied it up. That's the end of the first half with our score, UCLA 7 and Washington 7. We'll be back with a Prudential College football report after this message and a word from your local station.
CBS Sports presents the Prudential College Football Report. Sponsored by the Prudential, offering a full range of insurance and other financial services. The Prudential, the Rock. It's strong, it's on the move, it's bigger than life.
Welcome back to the Prudential College Football Report. So we have a tie up in Seattle, but right now a quick update of our viewer vote. So far, 93% are in favor of a national championship game or some sort of playoff system. And 7% would like to maintain the present system, the bowls and the national championship decided in the polls. Here again is how you can vote. If you're in favor of a title game, call 1-900-220-2111. If you want things as they currently stand, call 1-900-220-2122. Each call is 50 cents. Now let's get to today's scores in college football, starting out with the top 10. Tonight, Tulsa meets Miami. Tulsa's a team that is 7-3 on the year, but of course the Canes are 10-0. Minnesota ended Michigan's national championship hopes by today claiming the little brown jug. Here, Michigan tied it with 2.5 minutes to go. Gerald White scoring on 4th and goal, but Bo Schembechler elected to kick the extra point instead of going for 2, thinking his defense could hold. But right back came Minnesota. They drove the length of the field on the game's final play. Chip Low Miller converted on the chip shot, and the Gophers beat Michigan for the first time since 1977. Last time they beat them, Michigan was ranked #1. So they have destroyed a couple of national championship hopes for the Wolverines. Penn State leads Notre Dame at halftime, 10-6. That is a key game as far as the bowl picture goes. Oklahoma with their 5th shutout of the year, 28-0 today over Colorado. Here, Patrick Collins scores from 17 yards out. Afterwards, Collins is pelted by oranges. Folks in Boulder were hoping for a win today against Barry Switzer's club, which of course would have given them the driver's seat for the Orange Bowl. Here, Mark Hatcher, the quarterback of the Buffaloes, sacked by Brian Bosworth. What a defense this Oklahoma team has. They've outscored their opponents in the last 5 games now, 226-3. And there you see a cheerleader from Colorado was carried off the field after also being beamed by an orange in Boulder. Other scores now. Of course, tonight, Wichita State goes against Arizona State. Arizona State is going to the Rose Bowl. Nebraska over Kansas. This is in the 4th quarter. This will be the 18th consecutive year that the Cornhuskers have won at least 9 games. A&M and Arkansas are tied at the half. Georgia and Auburn will play later tonight. Ohio State over Wisconsin. The Buckeyes have now won 9 games in a row. We'll have more on that game later at the half. In the South, Alabama over Temple in the 4th quarter, now 24-6. Clemson and Maryland are tied late in the 2nd quarter. Florida State over Southern Mississippi. That is a 3rd quarter score. In the Midwest, Iowa over Purdue. Tom Pawlowski, the quarterback for the Hawkeyes, has thrown for 3 scores. Northwestern leads Michigan State. Lorenzo White has not played in the 2nd half because of an injury, and the Northwestern leads. West Virginia over Louisville by a point. That is in the 3rd quarter. In the Southwest, Baylor looking for a bid from the Bluebonnet Bowl. They lead Rice in the 3rd. SMU and Texas Tech, the Mustangs shutting out the Red Raiders right now in the 3rd quarter. Out west, Oregon and Washington State, the Cougars trailing to the Ducks in the 2nd. And here's a surprise, Oregon State and BYU. That is a 4th period score. BYU has made a quarterback change. They are trailing right now 10-7. Stay with us for more scores and highlights as the Prudential College Football Report continues on CBS with scores from around the country. finals today from college football. Boston College won its 6th in a row. Troy Stratford ran for 184 yards and went over the 1,000-yard mark on the season. Next week, the Eagles will go against Holy Cross, a team that is now 10-0 on the year. Today, Gordy Lockbaum, 2 touchdowns rushing. He caught 5 passes for 80 yards, returned 2 kickoffs for 82 more. Pittsburgh over Rutgers. Joe Filitsky had to fill in for the injured John Conjimmy. He completed 20 passes for 259 yards and a touchdown. Penn over Harvard. The Quakers have beaten the Crimson for the 3rd time in this decade. The last time that happened was back in the 1890s. Cornell over Columbia. The Lions have now lost 30 ball games in a row. So the Ivy League standings look like this. Penn and Cornell are tied. Next week they will play at Cornell for the Ivy League crown. In the South, Tennessee topped Mississippi. For the Rebels, they are now out of the SEC race to the Sugar Bowl. Here's one of the key touchdowns for the Volunteers. Jeff Francis to Joey Clinkscales, 38 yards. In Tennessee, it's been a disappointing season, but they salvaged some pride today with that victory. In the SEC, the standings look like this. Alabama and LSU tied. Auburn is tied in the loss column at the moment. Elsewhere, Florida, a team that was eliminated early in the SEC race because they had that slow start. Today, Kentucky beat them, and that has to be considered an upset. The Wildcats, time of possession, 41 minutes to the Gators, only 19. Kerwin Bell played, completed 7 out of 24. Virginia Tech over Vanderbilt. Coach Bill Dooley becomes the winningest coach in Tech history. It's the last game for him at Tech. He will leave after this season, but the Hokies likely will go to the Peach Bowl in the postseason. North Carolina over Virginia. Now, the 2 coaches in this game were on the sidelines, but they weren't in great shape. Dick Crum was on crutches, George Welsh in a wheelchair. But, hey, it's at least they were coaching, unlike the guys at Maryland and Clemson. But here's the real story today. Derek Fenner going 73 yards here. He had 39 carries for 328 yards and 2 touchdowns. And that is a new ACC record for Fenner. He is only a sophomore, so we'll be hearing a lot more from him the next 2 years. North Carolina State over Duke, and Eric Kramer, coming back from that ankle injury, today became the Wolfpack's all-time leading passer. South Carolina has a hotshot freshman quarterback named Todd Ellis. Played only 1 half today, threw for 2 touchdowns. He set a new freshman record for touchdown passes in a season with 19, previously held by Purdue's Mark Herman. In the Midwest, Illinois surprising for the 2nd straight week. Last week it was Iowa, this week Indiana. In the Southwest, Texas tops TCU for the 19th straight time. The Longhorns are now 5-4. The Southwest Conference standings, look at this log jam right now behind Texas A&M, Arkansas, Baylor, and Texas Tech, as well as Texas and SMU, all with 2 losses. Now, if A&M stumbles today against Arkansas, this race will open up. But should the Aggies win, it looks like they are headed to the Cotton Bowl. And when we come back, we'll update some more important conference races and take another tally of our viewer votes. You're watching the Prudential College Football Report here on CBS, where the scores continue from around the country. Again, the shocker today in college football, Minnesota winning at Ann Arbor on a last-second field goal. Ricky Foggy passing for a score, running for another. Ohio State winning its 9th in a row over Wisconsin today, 30-17. So the Big Ten standings look like this. Even though Michigan lost, next week's game against Ohio State will still be for the Rose Bowl berth from the Big Ten. Now, let's take a closer look at how the Ohio State victory unfolded in Madison. Brent Musburger called the action and filed this report.
Jim, for Ohio State, it was a working man's day, if you will. Vince Workman had his career best. He rushed for 172 yards. Take a look at this sophomore in action. How at the line of scrimmage, when he'd be hit, he'd spin away. And that's just one of his fine rushes for the Buckeyes this afternoon. He also scored 2 touchdowns. Now, starting quarterback Jimmy Carsatos was injured, a banged-up left shoulder. So the punter and backup quarterback Tom Tupa came in, and suddenly he discovered Chris Carter. And when the score was 17-10, perhaps the biggest moment of the game came on this 3rd and 11 sequence. And it was the first catch of the day by Carter, who wound up in the end zone, and the Buckeyes were never headed after that. Now, next week, it's Ohio State and Michigan. And after the game, our Pat O'Brien asked Buckeye coach Earl Bruce, what about next week's confrontation?
If every game were like the Michigan game, it would be something to coach because everyone listens, and it's a great week of preparation for a great, great football game. Outstanding football game.
I don't know if you heard the score, but Minnesota's beating Michigan right now.
That's surprising. Michigan will come back.
But they did not come back. However, it does not matter. Whoever wins next Saturday's meeting between Ohio State and Michigan will still wind up in the Rose Bowl. Back to New York and Jim Nance. Jim?
All right, Brent, and another big score today, Oklahoma over Colorado, the Sooners' 5th shutout of the year. Now, should Penn State lose, Oklahoma wants a piece of Miami once again, but as we told you earlier today, Jimmy Johnson telling me last night his players say it's no big deal to play the Sooners once again since they have beaten them twice in the last year. Now, as to that possible Orange Bowl showdown between Oklahoma and #1 Miami, the Sooners' irrepressible Brian Bosworth left no doubt about his feelings.
Miami can't dodge the bullet all year long. If they're satisfied with the win in first of the season, you know, that's fine. Go take your game somewhere to other bowl. But, I mean, if you want to show down for #1, come with us.
Of course, the Boz will have to wait and see what happens with Penn State and Notre Dame. Keep the calls coming in. Over 33,000 so far, 93% screaming for some sort of playoff in college football. That'll do it for now. Second half coming up next. Thanks for watching the Prudential College Football Report.
The Prudential College Football Report has been sponsored by The Prudential, offering a full range of insurance and other financial services. The Prudential, the rock, it's strong, it's on the move, it's bigger than life.
Halftime with UCLA and Washington tied 7-7 here in Seattle, Washington this afternoon. It's now time to present this week's Toyota Leadership Award to the team players who have been singled out by their school's coaching and faculty staff for outstanding performance in the areas of team contributions, academics, and citizenship. Today's game leadership winners are David Clinton from UCLA. He's a senior history major from Lomita, California, with a 3.12 grade point average. And Bo Yates from Washington. Bo is a junior economics major from Lebanon, Oregon, with a 3.1 grade point average. Toyota will donate a check in the amount of $1,000 to each school's general scholarship fund. Halftime in Seattle will continue in just a moment. UCLA 7 and the Huskies of the University of Washington 7. A comfortably clothed crowd of 60,000 gathered here at Husky Stadium in Seattle on this balmy day in the Pacific Northwest. 45 degrees under kind of gloomy skies, but a good ball game so far. 7-7 at halftime. And we are tied with UCLA and Washington, each scoring one touchdown in the second quarter of play. Had a chance during the halftime break to venture out beside our booth, and I ran into representatives of 6 Bulls in their brightly colored jackets. They're mumbling to themselves, Pat. They're kind of confused because there is a lot on the line in this game, and nothing has been decided yet.
And we all expected an awful lot of offense. We came into a game, both teams averaging over 30 points. They were looking for a shootout, and they haven't gotten that today.
Instead, we are at 7-7. We have had a lot of turnovers so far, but only one. This one has resulted in a touchdown.
And I think the turnovers have not necessarily been bad offensive play, but good defense. You saw Reggie Rogers put the pressure on Matt Stevens. That caused the bad pitch and the turnover.
That was at the 19-yard line, and the Huskies did score 5 plays later to tie it up at 7-7. It has been a bruising defensive battle, particularly against the rush so far.
Well, neither team has established anything on the ground. The UCLA coaches felt they were going to have to throw the ball coming into this game because you really can't run consistently on Washington. They've been right.
UCLA with only 69 yards on the ground, 25 came on the touchdown scamper, and Washington with 46. We'll return to Husky Stadium in Seattle after this word from your local station.
This is
CBS Sports presents college football, sponsored by the Heartbeat of America, today's Chevrolet, Michelob Light, super premium taste and less filling beer, and by the people of Rockwell International, where science gets down to business. The junior quarterback from Everett, Washington, Chris Chandler, on the sidelines. He'll get a chance to rest for a moment because the Huskies will kick off to open the third quarter. Dane Cleveland does the chores. Cornell Lake and Darrell Henley deep for the Bruins of UCLA. This is Henley at the 4. Out to the 40-yard line to give the Bruins terrific field position is Tony Zachary, number 25. makes the tackle.
Well, again, uncharacteristic of Don James' special teams to let Darrell Henley get the ball up to near the 40-yard line. But good wedge blocking. You know what I like about Henley? Boy, he comes right up the middle. Doesn't waste any time juking and jiving. Boy, he takes that ball upfield and picks up some real estate.
And as a result, the Bruins have a first down at the 40-yard line. Stevens with a draw play to Gaston Green. That is his 15th carry, and on the first carry of the game, Gaston Green picked up 16 yards. On his next 12 carries, he has picked up less than 10 yards.
And again, some of it is the fact that he's a tremendous cutback runner. And again, the coaching staff of the Washington, Jim Lambright, the defensive coordinator, felt that this field, this turf, is not real conducive to a cutback type of runner.
See 14 carries for 11 yards. There's a quick snap, no flag down. Stevens with time behind his intended receiver. Intended for the tight end, Derek Tennell, but a little bit behind him.
You know, we've had a number of chances to watch Matt Stevens this year. I think he's a much more effective quarterback when he is rolling out, because seemingly when he drops back in the pocket, either he's always stepping forward or he's throwing the ball behind a receiver.
Well, he is now almost equaled with his run of 25 yards, the number of yards for which he has passed. 3 of 11 with 1 interception. Third down. See if the Huskies have blitz on the mind. They don't appear to be coming. They're not. Yes, they are. 5 on. Across the middle, incomplete. Intended for Bob Garibaldi, number 20.
The Washington defense is going to give you that kind of chance because they're aggressive. You mentioned the blitz. When you do that, you got one-on-one coverage. Garibaldi had a chance. Stevens has to lay the ball up a little bit more and let Garibaldi run under it.
Stevens now 3 of 12. Andre Riley is deep to return the punt of Harold Barkade. There's Riley. And there's Barkade. And again, it's a narrow miss. Riley, fair catch, takes it at the 9.5-yard line.
Tim Peoples, number 26, from the right part of the screen. He is their starting free safety. Almost gets this one. He is unblocked, and he has been close on 2 or 3 different occasions. Very good technique, too, there by Tim Peoples, because what he didn't do is create the penalty. He didn't run right into the kicker. That's, again, good special teams coaching on the Husky staff.
With the wind at their back, the Huskies have a first down 89 yards away. I'll get the math.
Yeah, how many yards is that again?
Well, I was a sociology major. This is not my specialty. 14 minutes to go, third quarter. Chris Chandler, with his backs in the eye, will hand it off to the fullback, Covington. And Tony Covington, the sophomore from Portland, out across the 11 near the 12-yard line. Eric Smith, number 98, makes the tackle.
You know, in the first half, we saw Terry Toomey offset the center. Here's the first series in the second half. He's lined head up, straight up on the center, trying to balance the defense because that's what the option play forces you to do, play balanced defense.
There is Terry Toomey out of Tulsa, Oklahoma. It's second down and 7 with 13:20 to go in the third quarter. Spitbacks behind Chris Chandler. Gives it again to Covington. And you heard the ooh of the crowd as he is belted backwards by Greg Boland and Ken Norton.
This time, you're going to see Terry Toomey, who is offset. It was a second and long situation. They felt they really weren't going to run the option play. And again, what Terry Toomey is trying to do, take advantage of his quickness. He's trying to get into that gap before the offensive center and guard can get a hand on him.
Those of you who were with us last week in the Stanford UCLA game saw Toomey swat the ball at the end of the game. And UCLA recovered. But Walt Wolf, an official, called illegal participation, not illegal participation, but illegal procedure on Toomey and negated the fumble recovery. Here's Chandler, who is fullback. Covington close for the first down. Now we'll see where the spot comes. Chucky Miller and Carnell Lake defending for UCLA.
It's one of the first screen plays we really have seen against the UCLA defense, which really is a good tactic, Vern, when you've got an aggressive, all-out defense like UCLA is playing today. How do you slow a defense down? You throw screens, you run draws, you run traps.
And that's going to come up about a foot short, Pat. Not even that much.
And I think you have to punt the ball there. And a remeasure.
Bad eyes. Well, we are up here above the Seagulls.
among the Sequoias.
This is about as high as one can get in a press box in the United States.
Well, if they had numbers on top of the helmets, we could see a lot better, I guess.
Right. It's the first game I've done by radar. It is a first down. From the 21-yard line. 12:16 to go, third quarter, 7-7 game. Again, the backs in the eyes. Pitch out. Andre Riley, number 23, comes in and feels the blood of that UCLA defensive thrust. Carnell Lake, number 31. Take a look at these numbers of people. Now, they suit up 155 Washington Huskies.
Oh, boy, all the guys without names in the back, you know you're not going to get in too much.
Now, there's a fella in there we're going to find before the game's over, because I want to spotlight one of these kids.
I haven't seen that many guys in uniform since the Russian Army.
You've heard of 3 deep? The Washington Huskies go 8 deep at some positions, including place kicker.
You don't want to be down in the first row or two, I'll tell you what.
You don't want to be last in line at halftime either.
You may get locked out, right?
Second down and 10. Carnell Lake comes off the field. There's only a 60-man squad that has traveled up here, and they look lonely for UCLA in comparison. Second down, 11. Vince Weathersby back in. 7-7 ball game, 11:40 to go. Play fake, Chandler rolls out. Now he's got the option. Lobs it out, caught. Rod Jones, the tight end, at the 27-yard line. Darrell Henley makes the tackle.
Very nice play call. Now, this was set up because Eric Smith, number 98 on defense for UCLA, is a great aggressive player. He's coming hard off the corner. He overruns Chandler. And there, Rod Jones had snuck out underneath the coverage for the easy catch. That's good play selection. That's something that Washington saw in the first half, how hard Eric Smith was coming. That's the adjustment.
Rod Jones has made the trip up to the Pacific Northwest out of Richmond, California. 3rd and 3 now with just under 11 minutes to go, third quarter. Chandler on the half roll. Almost intercepted. It is. Picked off by UCLA's Greg Rutledge.
And he got an assist there. I think Kenny Norton tipped the ball. Kenny Norton is the linebacker from the inside, number 41, right there in the middle of your screen. Watch him read the quarterback. He sees Chandler roll out. He rolls out into the coverage as well, tips the ball, and there's number 30, Craig Rutledge, a guy who had his receiver, Daryl Franklin, well covered. Good team defense by UCLA. They really have played, really been impressed with their defense this year.
Rutledge has been a real factor in this game. That is the second interception thrown by Chandler. Matt Stevens calls the signals for the Bruins now. Draw play, Gaston Green hit behind the line and struggles for a couple.
Now, ordinarily, a draw play against a defensive front like Washington is a good call because all those guys are thinking sack, thinking upfield, thinking upfield. Gaston Green didn't get much, though, on that draw play. Watch number 45, Marcus Greenwood. He was okay. He is looked for a moment there that he may have started early, but he didn't. Give Albert some credit for staying home to cover the draw.
Second down and 8 in a tie game with 10 minutes to go, third quarter. Green comes right. Watch him cut back or try to. He does have a first down as he gets near the 17, and Tim Peoples, number 26, makes the tackle.
Well, that was one of the first times we've seen UCLA really come with a cross-buck action. They faked one side and countered back with Gaston Green on the backside. We've seen them not run that thus far today.
First down and 10, UCLA, 9:55 to go, 7-7 game, third quarter. Backs in the eye, Stevens audibly. Gives it to the short man, the fullback, Greenwood, inside the 10. He's close for another first and goal.
Number 79, Ono Zvonabel, the right guard. He is the man who's going to trap and let Greenwood through. Very good eyes. He picked him up, came right across the center's block. Nice trap block, and that allowed the big play by Greenwood. Say the UCLA offensive front today has done a real nice job of pulling and trapping and getting those big offensive linemen out in front of their backs and Matt Stevens.
Second down and 1 for the Bruins with 9:10 to go, third quarter. They threaten now to break a 7-7 tie. And again, it's the fullback Greenwood. Or it's James Primus, number 23, who had come in with Gaston Green.
Well, I've been impressed all season long with Matt Stevens' ball handling. I thought he actually had the ball there, but he gave the ball to the fullback, but he set up a naked bootleg because he came around to the corner, and nobody really paid any attention to him.
Terry Donahue sends Danny Thompson, number 15, in at a running back spot. It'll be first and goal from the 7 with 9 minutes to go, third quarter. 7-7 ball game. Stevens is 3 out of 12 throwing the ball. He has the UCLA touchdown on a 25-yard run. Pitch out, Green with a lead blocker in front, circles, gets the block, and is spilled out of bounds at the 4.5-yard line by number 26, Tim Peoples.
I want to tell you, Tim Peoples is another guy who's played awfully well today. He's the one that's almost blocked a couple of punts, but he's also come up from his free safety position to put some stop on the UCLA backs in the backfield. You're going to see some Washington defenders fight off blocks, particularly one by Primus. Number 26 is right there. He fights off the block in the front and then makes the tackle there on Gaston Green. That's aggressive, good defensive play by Peoples. Gaston Green gave him a little bit of a shot, too.
Tim Peoples is one of the co-captains, and there's a player down. It's Peoples out of bounds after he made the tackle, and they're tending to his left ankle.
Well, he is a senior, but I remember him as a freshman and sophomore. They really thought he was going to be unbelievable. Has had a very good career, though, at the University of Washington.
Time has been called. Back in a moment.
Final score, Oklahoma 28.
We're back live at Husky Stadium in Seattle. It'll be second down and goal from the 4. UCLA, 2 wide receivers, right side, short side of the field. Stevens again changing the play at the line. Burrell in motion to the left side. They give it to the fullback, and he's knocked backwards. James Primus.
So he wanted to play middle linebacker for Washington. Number 38, David Rill. He is their leading tackler. He's going to fight off a couple of blocks, a tackle on a lineman, and he gets in there and gets some help from Erlickson, number 46, as well.
Now there is a late flag that was thrown at the 4-yard line. And the Bruins start marching back toward the west end of the field. James Springer, the referee, will mark it off. His dad, Jack Springer, by the way, was honored at halftime here and put into the
holding offense, second down. And here's where UCLA has to be careful now. It's second and goal now from the 14-yard line, but you can't afford a sack or a turnover. You've got to throw the ball to try to get it in the end zone, but be careful it's not picked off.
8:05 to go, third quarter. Ball at the 14-yard line. Stevens again blocks out a change of the play to the right side. Keeps it on the ground. Gaston Green slips and is down at the 10 by David Toy, number 34, who has replaced Tim Peoples in the defensive backfield. There's David Toy. He's a junior from Mountain Home, Idaho.
Here is another tough, I think this is the toughest call really in football, when you cannot get a first down and you're on the 9 or 10-yard line and have to get the ball into the end zone. Again, I think Matt Stevens is going to take a chance into the end zone, but he's going to make, if somebody's not open, he's going to throw the ball out of the end zone.
Wide receivers left and right. Timeout.
They had taken away both wide receivers with double coverage.
So Stevens will talk it over with Terry Donahue, and we'll take a break. 60,000 are gathered in the gloom in Seattle. It's in the third quarter, third and goal, UCLA. Stevens has it. Play fake. Half roll where he's most effective. Pulls back. Wide open touchdown. Derek Cannell, the tight end.
And that's why Stevens called the timeout, because when he came to the line of scrimmage earlier, he wanted to go outside to his wide receivers. Double coverage, he called timeout. They talked it over on the sideline. If they take your wideouts out, your tight end should be open. Derek Cannell is a very big target. He is 6'5", 235 pounds. Fights off a couple of guys. Now, nobody is really picking him up. The receivers are covered. He was open for an awfully long time there. Wide open. That's an easy touchdown pass for Matt Stevens.
Out of David Clinton's hole, David Freeney will try and get the extra point, which would give UCLA a 7-point lead once again. Kick is up, and it is good as Derek Tennell gets his third touchdown catch of the year.
Matt Stevens, we talked about him. I think he's best when he's on the corner of the defense, rolling out away from the rush. The fake to gas to Green. He's out in front of a couple of big offensive linemen. Steps up into the pocket, finds the wide open tight end. Good call, good read by Stevens.
Third touchdown catch for Derek Tennell this year. We're back in Seattle, Washington with 7:13 to go in the third quarter. We've now had 6 turnovers in the ball game. In the second quarter, Washington turned a fumble by UCLA into a 19-yard touchdown drive. And now Matt Stevens converts Craig Rutledge's pass interception into a touchdown toss and third down to his tight end, Derek Tennell. And a 14-7 UCLA lead. And all of these Bowl Scouts who are here, and they're a handful, perhaps reassessing which team might get a New Year's Day invitation.
Washington was the favorite in that category coming in.
I'm not sure if that was an attempted strip kick or an onside kick, but it hit one of the up men for the Washington Huskies. Now, who got it? Steve Holtzgraf, number 20, out of Tumwater, Washington, and the Huskies get it.
I think because he was kicking into the wind, there's a little bit of a brisk. He tried to drive it, keep it low. He turned it right in the back.
Hit the man right in the back.
Hit him right in the back, and that was almost a big, big play for UCLA. I don't think that was an attempted onside kick.
And give a lot of credit to Holtzgraf, who made the recovery for the Huskies, and Washington comes out of that with terrific field position, trailing by 7 with 7:11 to go third quarter. Chandler, play fake, wants to go deep and can't, and has Lonzel Hill still running. Out of bounds at the 38.
We're passing to Lonzel Hill.
Remember earlier in the game when they threw the deep pass to Lonzel Hill? That's what this sets up. That sets up the outside routes, because you have to be concerned about a guy going deep. He just finds a little spot there. The safety's supposed to come over from the middle of the field and help out there. Then he does a nice little dance and picks up an extra 5 or 6 yards. Washington has to get the ball into Hill's hands 5 or 6 or 7 times a game.
That is the second catch today, 38 for the year now. First and 10, Washington at the 36.5-yard line. Chandler, the junior quarterback, is 10 of 17. He'll hand it off this time. Tony Covington breaks a tackle, slips to the outside, uses the official as a shield, and is down and out of bounds at the 12.
You're absolutely right. Craig Rutledge was he was just screened off by the official. He was so frustrated, he ran right into the official. Tony Covington was the man who fumbled in the first quarter, remember. This time he fights off, he cuts back, spins and turns. He's only 205 pounds. Watch the official now. He's going to screen off Rutledge. He's trying to get out of his way. Nice block there on Craig Rutledge by the official. And that allowed Covington to bring the ball down to the 11-yard line.
First and 10, Huskies from the 11, trailing 14-7 with 6:39 to go, third quarter. 2 wide receivers to the right side. Chris Chandler hands it off up the middle. Touchdown! Huskies are an extra point away from tying it up as Weathersby rips it up the middle. And Chandler will hold for Jeff Jager's extra point try. That didn't take long.
The left guard of Washington is going to throw the key block here. He is number 68, Garth Thomas. Big gaping hole inside. Now this was something that Washington didn't feel they could do, was really run power football against UCLA. But on this drive, that's what we've seen. We've seen them stuff it right down UCLA's throat.
Screaming their appreciation of that 53-yard touchdown drive by Washington. And just prior to the kickoff, Carnell Lake, the linebacker, fell down and has a cramp in his right leg. He was standing ready to receive the kickoff. And this fine linebacker and kick return specialist for UCLA suddenly tumbled to the artificial surface.
Boy, and you really don't expect it in this kind of weather either. I mean, you're usually cramping up in the hot type of environment.
It was really strange. He's standing there, and then he looks and signals for time.
Darrell Henley, the other man, number 2 back there.
Now Cornell Lake is going to be helped off as he limps toward the near side.
And remember, he is a defensive starter as well at outside linebacker. Unusual combination at outside linebacker returning kicks, I know, but he does that. Looks like the cramp has gone away.
Should be okay. That was really unusual. Now the crowd gets back into it. Cleveland's kick. This will be Darrell Henley at the 3. Belted at the 17. Fumble.
They called it down. They called it down. Boy, did he get belted. Good call by the official. I think the ball was down, or the runner was down. I'll tell you, the touchdown by Washington has really ignited the special teams here. Watch the hit that he's going to take. Boom, 2 guys there, and then when he comes down, the ball comes out late. Yeah, good call by the official. No fumble there.
Greg Travis, number 47, who got the hit from behind. UCLA has the ball at the 18. 6:20 to go, third quarter. 14 all. Draw play. Gaston Green stopped. Steve Alford. Watch once again the tying touchdown and the key block from the fullback, Tony Covington.
Remember the play before, Covington had a great run where he's twisting and turning, but this time he gives some help to Weathersby. He's going to pick up a nice block on the linebacker. He just searches out Boland, number 91, creates a huge hole there for Weathersby to fight his way into the end zone. That's good teamwork.
UCLA trying to quiet things down from a defensive perspective. It's 2nd down and 10. Stevens still has it. Has a man open. First down, UCLA at the 35. Caught by Paco Craig, number 26, and Tim Peoples. His numerical counterpart makes the tackle at the 37-yard line.
No, we really have not seen, oh my goodness.
Notre Dame leading Penn State 13-10.
That's going to change the ball picture.
Arkansas leading the Aggies in the 4th quarter. Could confuse the Southwest Conference race. And Alabama defeated Temple. Clemson and Maryland are tied. First down, UCLA at the 36. Stevens with a play fake. In trouble. Number 93, Steve Albert, senior from Bellingham.
Boy, if it isn't Reggie Rogers or Habib, the tackles, or it's Steve Albert. He is the inside nose tackle who really plays offset some. But they have been putting heat on Matt Stevens. We mentioned earlier they have put 5 quarterbacks out this season, something I don't think they're particularly proud of. But they have put tremendous pressure on quarterbacks all season long.
That is a loss of 10. It'll be 2nd and 20. 14-14 game. 4.5 remaining third period. Gaston Green comes in motion to the near side. 3-man rush by the Huskies. Stevens flushed out to his left. Being chased by Roberts. Incomplete. It's 3rd and 20. Darrell Hall defending on the pass intended for James Primus. And Stevens scampering for his safety that time.
There are few difficult places to play in the Pac-10, but this is one of them. This place at Arizona State. This crowd from here on out, Vern, becomes very much a factor.
Is that just the nature? Here's an injured player now for the Washington Huskies.
It's the nature of West Coast football, I think, Vern. In the Pac-10, you have teams that play, some of them play in large stadiums like UCLA and Southern Cal and don't sell those stadiums out. But when you go into Tempe and you come in here to Seattle and you're the opposing team and it's a close ball game, it really becomes a home field advantage.
Ryan Habib is the injured player. There's a look at the crowd. To give you an idea of how tough it is, UCLA has won here only twice since 1958. That was in 1976 and in 78. And in the month of November, they haven't won here in 30 years.
They're 0 for 30.
0 for the century. 14-14, 4:25 to go third period, 14-all. And a 3rd and 20 facing Matt Stevens and the Bruins. Across the middle. Short of the first down. Carl Durrell makes the grab. He's a yard short.
That's okay. That is a yard short because he gave their punting team a lot more room to work with. Now, instead of Washington getting excellent field position, they'll be backed up some.
Here comes Durrell.
Well, Tim Peoples has been close on the punt blocks all day. Now, remember, Peoples is out, though. He was hurt with the ankle. 10 men up on the rush.
And they send one. Not much pressure that time, and Barcade has it go to the right. Taken by Andre Riley. Slips at the 33. And again, Craig Rutledge.
That's exactly what I was going to say. Craig Rutledge made the block on the punt rusher, the guy that was coming in to block the play. Then he stepped outside to make a tackle on the return. He really has played very, very well. You're going to see Riley, who's had a very good year as a punt returner, returned 1 for a touchdown this year, 66 yards. Flips here on the turf, but old dependable for UCLA number 30, Craig Rutledge, is there to make sure he's not going anywhere.
And that means Chris Chandler, the junior quarterback out of Everett, is back in the lineup with the offensive unit. A 14-14 ball game, 3.5 to go, third period. Pitch out, Weathersby going right, gets a nice seal block. Doesn't quite have the speed to get around the corner. Weathersby limping a little bit. There's the big upset thus far today. Minnesota with a field goal, 3 seconds left. Ohio State and Michigan will meet next week. The current Big Ten standings, rather. Ohio State with a 1-game edge over Michigan. And next week, that will be the lead game of our doubleheader. The Michigan Wolverines against the Ohio State Buckeyes, 12 o'clock Eastern time. And then Arizona State will follow that. Second down and 5, under 3 minutes now to go third period. And here's Chandler back to throw. Pumps, lays it off in the right flat. That should be enough for the first down as Weathersby makes the grab and gets to the 43. See where they spot the ball. Lonzel Hill says it's enough.
So Washington's done a nice job, not only today, but the entire season, really spreading the wealth around. We've seen them throw the ball to the tight end, then outside to Lonzel Hill and Darrell Franklin, and then out of the backfield to Weathersby as well. UCLA hasn't been able to do that as much.
This time, it's short. On that last play, watch the tight end Rod Jones, who was also out as a pass receiver.
He is number 84. Runs a lot of inside routes right in the middle of the field. When you have 2 inside linebackers, there's usually a hole right in the middle. He's waving. I've never met a receiver that wasn't open, though, I got to tell you, Vern.
Who was the worst you ever played with in terms of coming back and saying, I'm open, I'm open?
A guy named Willie Miller with the Los Angeles Rams. He would come back every play and say he was wide open. Then you watch the films, he had double coverage. I can run the out. I can run the post. I can run the in. I can run the go.
I'm glad you didn't hesitate. You knew exactly who you hit. Third short. Weathersby fumble. And even if it is a Washington recovery, it's short of the first down.
Absolutely right. That is a big, big play.
How big is it? It's very big. It's a UCLA recovery.
Again, very uncharacteristic of Don James type of team. We've seen some uncharacteristic penalties. Alan Dial, number 27, was the man who made the recovery. But fumbles. And again, it's been pretty good defense. The right side, 3rd and 1. Weathersby didn't really look like he had a great handle on the ball from the very beginning. And then it kind of bounced off his knee, I think. And Dial, 27, made the recovery.
5 Washington turnovers in the game.
You just can't do that. You cannot turn the ball over 5 times against virtually anybody and win football games.
UCLA first down at the 43, 2:16 to go, third period. Pitch out, Gaston Green to the 35-yard line. That's a good run of 8 yards. Now for an update, let's go back to our New York studios, and here's Jim Nance.
right, Vern, an impressive run by Kenny Flowers of Clemson. Here he takes the handoff, breaks off a one tackle, then runs untouched into the end zone the rest of the way. Clemson now in front of Maryland, third quarter. Back to Vernon Tech.
All right, Clemson leading that one, Jim. We've got a tie game with 1:45 to go third period, and a second down and 2 for the UCLA Bruins. Again, an audible by Matt Stevens. Blitz coming. Good protection. Man coverage. But for Anderson, incomplete.
Oh, man, that's a great audible by Matt Stevens. We saw him earlier audible for a touchdown on the option play, but it's the second time today, too, where I don't think he's put enough air on the ball. He line drives the pass. Willie Anderson has the extra burst at the end, but see how he kind of line drives the ball there? A little bit more air on it, and Willie Anderson runs under it easily past Art Malone, the defender. But again, terrific heads-up audible by Stevens.
Brings up a third down and 2. Stevens is now 6 of 18. 14-14 game, 92 seconds to go, third quarter. Gaston Green. That should move the chains.
Yeah, that's first down.
Ball at the 32.
You know, talking to Jim Lambright, the defensive coordinator for Washington, what he really wanted to see was them to get ahead of UCLA and get Gaston Green out of the game, force Matt Stevens to win the ball game, because this type of game, the third quarter is winding down. It's 14-14. Gaston Green becomes more and more of a factor in the fourth quarter.
In large measure, he has been kept in check. He's got 58 yards and 22 carries. First and 10, UCLA. 2 wide receivers, short side of the field. Draw play, Gaston Green. Breaks the tackle and struggles inside the 25, down to 24 by Bo Yates, number 3.
Now, one of the things which will be interesting with 1 minute left here in the third quarter, Vern, is because if they have to kick a field goal, they have to kick it into the wind going the way they can. Again, they might consider running out the third quarter here, because if they have to go to the field goal, at least they'll have the wind with them.
Third quarter has 49 seconds remaining. 2 wide receivers to the left on second down and 2. 14-14 game. And again, the audible from Stevens. Well, he has changed a lot and very effectively. They come to the near side, and that play is stuffed. Gaston Green is hit by Bo Yates, number 3. Coming up tomorrow in the NFL Today, a large human, Dan Deerdorf.
That's not a good picture of Dan, is it?
He's usually a little happier than that. Well, that may be why he's mad.
It's worse. He looks good compared to Conrad Dobler.
He and Conrad will be in the studios at 12:30 Eastern Time.
They were teammates together with the Cardinals, and boy, I'll tell you what a match they were.
So Dan played a little cleaner football than Conrad did.
Yes, he did.
That's the end of the third quarter, and we're tied at 14-14. We'll return to Husky Stadium in Seattle, Washington, after this message and a word from your local station. CBS Sports presents college football, sponsored by Michelob Light, super premium taste and less filling beer. The Equitable, your key to financial opportunity. And by MCI, communications for the next 100 years. We're live in Seattle at Husky Stadium, a sellout crowd watching as a tie game, 14-14. UCLA with a 3rd and 1 from the 23. Gaston Green should have enough for the first down at the 22. Boy, he has had to work for every foot today.
Nothing has come easily, I guarantee you. And Tom Erlinson, number 46, the inside linebacker from Washington, really put a quick inside charge on. I thought he was going to stop him for a quick loss.
Matt Stevens looks over to see if they got the first down. Check the spot.
Yeah, one of those subtle things, too, by the UCLA coaching staff, allowing the third quarter to run out so that, again, if they have to kick the field goal, they have the wind behind them.
And that is a decent breeze that is coming from east to west here in Seattle. Now Stevens checks it out. First down, UCLA. An unexpected 5 turnovers by the Washington Huskies. They've had 2 passes intercepted and have lost 3 fumbles. UCLA has turned it over twice. And now the Bruins in a 14-14 game. Now the first down for 22, Vern Lundquist, Pat Hayden coming to you from Seattle as we get set to go in the fourth quarter. And again, Matt Stevens changes the play at the line of scrimmage. Motion left side, flags are down. That's it. comeback against UCLA.
Well, that's the downside of trying to audible in a hostile environment, which this is. But he has done a magnificent job of doing so. Actually, both of these quarterbacks are real heady type of guys who control the game from underneath the center. You've had to do that more and more in college football over the past 10 years.
False start, offense, first down.
Let's catch you up to date now after that 5-yard penalty on how we have gotten to this point. Matt Stevens scored in the second quarter on a 25-yard run following a nice punt return. Then following a fumble recovery, Washington tied it up. We were 7-7 at the half. Then Janelle caught a touchdown pass to give UCLA the lead. Weathersby counted with an 11-yard run. Stevens, fumble! Bruins recover at the 29. Oh, wait a minute. Hold everything. Tony Zachary has it.
And Stevens is down. And he really took a shot. This will be the 6th quarterback that they put out of the game that Stevens cannot return.
It was Bo Yates, number 3, who got the blindside hit on Matt Stevens.
You're right. He never felt him from behind.
Just watch and listen to this hit from Bo Yates, a junior from Lebanon, Oregon.
Well, you didn't hear much there, but I guarantee you, as you probably saw, that it was a pretty good hit. Again, he had a pull-up and never saw Bo Yates from the backside. So I want to tell you, you hate to see that to any player.
Time has been called while Stevens struggles to his feet and comes to the bench.
Take another look at the hit on Matt Stevens. Now, he's been very effective rolling out today, and that's just what he's trying to do. He's trying to roll out to his left. Now, he has to pull up because number 94, Roberts, gets in his way, never sees Bo Yates. It looked like he really hurt his right shoulder. He took a tremendous blow. And there is Brendan McCracken, his backup, more of an option type of runner, which really in this game might be a very effective change of pace. That's how they scored, remember. UCLA 1 touchdown was on the option play.
14-14 game with 14:20 to go. Fourth quarter. Vern Lundquist and Pat Hayden here in Seattle. Chris Chandler, the junior quarterback, sends Rod Jones in motion. Now starts back. And the draw play. The Huskies work it well. First down to the 44. Tony Covington, number 39. Alan Dial, number 27, makes the tackle.
And again, we mentioned how this crowd becomes more and more of a factor right now. A draw play, we have not seen Washington run too many draws today. Again, UCLA's front is charged up, trying to get upfield. Nice call on the draw.
And the crowd sitting silent for the moment as the clock shows 14:05 to go in the 14-14 game. Chandler takes the snap and will throw. Into the flat. Weathersby to the 46-yard line of UCLA. And for Chandler, that is his 11th completion in 18 attempts.
And I'd say a little screen pass. Nice block by Garth Thomas, number 68, the left guard that really sprung him. He blocked Ken Norton, and that allowed Weathersby just a little slice of light to be able to get upfield.
There's Matt Stevens. Apparently that was not a serious injury. He's warming up and wants to get back in.
He is a tough, tough young man.
Second down and 1. Washington Huskies with 13-19 remaining in the game. 14 all. Covington struggles down to the 42-yard line. Take a look at what's going on in the Southeast Conference this afternoon here in mid-November. Georgia and Auburn play later tonight. That's a key game in terms of the championship. Alabama did win a non-conference game today. LSU and Mississippi State play later on tonight. And Ole Miss lost to Tennessee. That's the way it looks right now. Alabama, LSU, and Auburn. First and 10, Washington. Chandler puts it on his hip. Looks left, dodges a tackle, fires it left, overthrown, incomplete. Intended for Lonzell Hill, number 1. There's Chris Chandler, and I think he's suffering a little bit from that separated shoulder, Pat.
You could see that right in his face, absolutely. And he did a nice job of avoiding the sack there, too, getting the ball out of bounds.
He's a kid about whom his coach Don James said yesterday he has the potential to become the best quarterback Don James has coached here. And keep in mind that two of those ex-quarterbacks, Steve Pallure and Tom Flick, will play each other in San Diego tomorrow.
They have a very good history of quarterbacks here. Warren Moon as well.
Second down and 10. Chandler, draw play. Boy, Weathersby knocked down.
It's Batchkoff who really led the charge there.
Husky is no longer hungry. That's a dead Bruin.
Hungry-looking dog. Is that a wolf or a husky? I'm not sure.
That's a husky, I think. Should be.
I guess that's the idea, right?
Yeah, I think so. If it's not, we got a scoop. 3rd and 12. See Chandler will throw it. Franklin starts in motion. Blitz is coming by UCLA. Chandler, man coverage. Overthrown at the 10. Intended for Hill. 3rd time he's gone deep. Still hadn't gotten it.
Chris Chandler putting his team, though, in the right play. Read the blitz, knows they're going to get hit, and also knows he's going to get pressure. Try to get to Hill. Lonzo Hill was wide open. Again, there's a strong safety blitz, one-on-one coverage with Darrell Henley, number 2. Hill's got tremendous speed and a good burst. The ball thrown, again, a little bit too far. Hill can't make it. Good audible, though, by Chris Chandler.
Thane Cleland will punt into the wind. His 6th effort of the day. Darrell Henley waits at the 10-yard line. A little bit of pressure from UCLA. And that kick off the side of Cleland's foot is not terribly effective. Out of bounds, as a matter of fact, only at the 25-yard line. Bruins have the ball back. The UCLA Bruins have that breeze behind them as the flag flutters. The wind blowing from east to west here in Seattle. And Matt Stevens, amazingly, I think, is back in the lineup for the Bruins. A 14-14 game. Just under 12 minutes remaining. And on Gaston Green, who fights for yardage over his right tackle spot and gets it out near the 25-yard line. Tackle is made by Brian Habib, number 91.
I have to tell you, I am amazed to see Matt Stevens back in the ballgame. Because not only did he have the wind knocked at him, I thought maybe he might have separated his right shoulder. Again, the other quarterback, Chris Chandler, is playing with a partially separated shoulder.
At one, as you look at the ACC standings, NC State on top of Clemson now. But, of course, Clemson playing Maryland. And now 2nd down and 7 for the Bruins of UCLA. 14-14 game. Stevens wants to throw the screen pass. It's messed up. And he struggles out of there and manages to get back near the line of scrimmage before David Rill, number 38, made the tackle.
I bet you Matt Stevens' mother would like to see him get down on the turf. I guarantee you.
That'll bring up a 3rd and 7 with 11:07 to go in the game. And the play is sent in by Terry Donahue. Bob Garibaldi brings it in. Stevens for the day now is 6 of 18 for 72 yards. And a touchdown run of 25. 3rd and 7, just under 11 minutes to go in the game. Here comes that Seattle crowd. Shotgun formation. 4-man rush by the Huskies. Stevens wings it left side. Caught at the 40. Incomplete.
It should have been caught by Carl Doral. That ball was very well thrown, and again, it's one of those things on a 3rd and 8. Instead of having the 1st down, you have to punt the football. But called around top of the screen, comes back to the ball real well. It looked like he lost his footing a little bit there, and the ball hit him a little bit higher in the chest than he thought it was going to. But that ball very much should have been caught.
Harold Barcade on the punt. He'll have the wind behind him. Andre Riley waits for it for the Huskies at the 25. 10-man front. They are not coming. The return is on all the way. Barcade to Riley. Terrific downfield pursuit once again.
Parnell Lake,
who was out with a cramp a series or so ago. We're still tied at 14. That's all coming up next Saturday, of course, on CBS. In the meantime, Don James looks on as his team gets the ball back, and he's hoping they don't turn it over again. They have lost it 5 times on turnovers today. And in part because of that, we are tied at 14. Washington 5, UCLA 3.
I think UCLA's got the ball again.
That's 6.
And that was not caused by a hit, obviously. That was an exchange problem. Washington has had 2 fumbles just on exchange when the quarterback and the running back couldn't communicate very well. You're going to see Chris Chandler spin. He's trying to get the ball to Covington. It was a little bit of a mix-up. Covington didn't take 1 step in closer to the quarterback, which he normally does on a counter dive like that. And the difference in the spread caused the fumble.
And as a result, the Bruins have it back at the 30-yard line. That's 6 turnovers for Washington. They have lost 4 fumbles. Stevens, handoff, Gaston Green coming left. Cut down against this tenacious Washington Husky run defense. Steve Roberts, number 94, made the tackle. Green's 27 carries have resulted in only 71 yards.
Well, here the situation with about 10 minutes left in the 4th quarter. What UCLA needs to do with this drive is make sure they come away with at least 3 points, because as well as the UCLA defense is playing, a 3-point game may very well win it. A field goal may very well win it for the Bruins.
Terry Donahue, I think, is finding out some things about his team today. They have responded to the disappointment of last week's loss quite well. 2nd and 10. Stevens looks deep, fires deep, right side, double coverage. Incomplete.
Oh, I thought that ball was going to be picked off.
Paco Craig, the intended receiver, and Tony Zachary got there almost simultaneously.
Yeah. Let's take a look at Matt Stevens on the play fake. Again, they haven't really been able to develop Gaston Green too much, so the play fake is not going to slow too many people down. And here's Paco Craig, who really wasn't open. Poor decision by Matt Stevens. He is well covered by Zachary, number 25. I thought the ball was actually going to be picked off.
3rd and 10 from the 30. Stevens is 6 of 18. Draw play. Gaston Green comes left. No way. And it'll be up to David Freeney to do as Pat suggested, try and get 3. Reggie Rogers, number 51, makes the tackle on Gaston Green.
Now remember, he has had 1 block so far today. Had an extra point blocked a week ago.
And this will be a 45-yard field goal effort out of the hold of David Clinton. Freeney is 12 out of 15, 13 of 15.
Kicker. I just think there's too much pressure on those guys. You're going to get a chance to look at Freeney's reaction, who's been very good all year long. He thought he had it. Donahue thought he had it for a while.
As a result, we are still tied at 14, just under 9 minutes to go. There's the loneliness of the place kicker, David Freeney, trying to shake off an 0 for 2 afternoon. And as a result of that, in part, we are still tied 14-14. 8:59 remaining. Chris Chandler, the junior quarterback, under his center. Vern Bostek. Here's a handoff on the draw play. And Covington is shellacked when he gets there on the scrimmage.
You know, you mentioned Freeney being 0-2. Here's the difficult thing for him, too. He is not obviously psychologically feeling good about the way he's kicking, but he may very well have to come on with 3 or 4 seconds left in the ballgame to kick the winning field goal.
And as you watch this game evolve, keep in mind that the Huskies are going into the breeze, which is now quieted somewhat. They've got a 2nd down and 9 from the 30 with 8.5 remaining in the game. 5-man, 6-man front now for UCLA. Chris Chandler, play fake. Throws it for the 22nd time. Great diving catch, Lonzel Hill. Oh, what a dandy.
That was a superb catch by Hill. You know, Lonzel Hill on this play is covered by Carnell Lake, who really is an outside linebacker. Now he's going to get some help from the back. Lake has got the short zone. Lonzel Hill just feels the little area in between the linebacker and the corner, and then makes a very athletic catch on the play.
First down from the 45. Split backs behind Chris Chandler. And they'll keep it on the ground. Tony Covington hit by Frank Batchkoff, number 92.
You know, one of the surprising things to me, too, is that Don James has stuck with Tony Covington, even though he's fumbled the ball a number of times. But we've seen Covington make some nice runs and the big block for the touchdown in the third quarter where Weathersby scored.
And Covington is in there because Don James does not have his senior, Rick Fitting, who's on the bench with a separated shoulder.
2nd and 9. Washington has not gotten the ball to Rod Jones, the tight end, with enough frequency yet today.
Jones, left side. Hill is to the short side, and Chandler goes back to good protection. Fires it out. Diving try by Hill at the 35, incomplete.
Same play they completed a few moments ago. We talked about Rod Jones, the tight end, how he's been open most of the afternoon. He is running right down the middle of the field. It was really wide open. Chris Chandler never really looked his way. But he's the guy they'd like to feature in their passing attack. Had 23 catches coming into the game.
Well, if I'm Ron Jones, I do a Willie Miller.
You come back and say,
I go back and say, hey,
what do I have to do?
Don't forget I'm here. It's 3rd and 10. 7:17 to go in the ball game. 14-14 game. Blitz coming from UCLA. Good protection. Man coverage. Hill again. That's 5 times they've gone deep and haven't gotten him yet.
I like the idea, though. There's some in the crowd booing. I like the idea of getting one of your best offensive players a chance one-on-one down the field for the big play, the touchdown. Now, they haven't connected yet today. They have done so this year quite a few occasions. And that, I think, has been one of the big differences and the big changes I have seen this Washington team this season.
Payne Cleveland on a punt for the 7th time, and Darrell Henley waits back inside the 20-yard line. 7:10 to go in the game. Great kick. Terrific kick. Fair catch call, but it's over his head into the end zone. Be a touchback. So UCLA gets it back, and they do so with 7 minutes to go in the game. Coming up tomorrow, the NFL on CBS. Chicago Bears against the Atlanta Falcons. Atlanta trying to rebound from a little bit of a struggle right now. That all starts with the NFL today at 12:30 Eastern Time, 9:30 on the West Coast. Tomorrow on CBS. 1st and 10. UCLA has the ball at the 20 with 7:01 remaining in a 14-14 ball game. Matt Stevens rolls out, pulls up, fires it to Chanel. And the tight end rips out across the 35 and has a first down for the Bruins at the 38-yard line.
Derek Tennell really gets hit at the line of scrimmage by Darrell Hall, number 40, who is the strong safety playing him nose for nose. Tries to kick him down inside, but nice play calling by UCLA. They've run some power football. Here they faked a little play, allowed Stevens to get to the outside, and then dumps the ball off to the tight end. Clever little play.
1st and 10 UCLA. Clock running with 6:40 to go. Gaston Green comes left. David Rill, number 38, makes the tackle on Gaston Green, who has now carried 29 times in the game. Well, if you've been with us most of the day, you're aware we were conducting a telephone survey about whether those of you watching would like to have a national championship collegiate game. Thus far, 93% have called that 900 number to say yes, and 7% like things the way they are. If I had 50 cents, I'd call for the first number. Economic times are tough right now. 2nd down and 7. Stevens dropped by Gaston Green, who was then dropped by Bo Yates. It'll be 3rd down and 7.
I'll tell you, there's some question in my mind whether this is a real late hit, to be perfectly honest. But Bo Yates, maybe it wasn't. Maybe he couldn't really slow down. Bo Yates put a lick on Gaston Green there earlier, and he did it to Matt Stevens.
3rd down and 7. A 14-14 game with just under 6 minutes to go. Backs in the eye and wide receivers left and right. 4-man front and no blitz by the Huskies. Stevens in trouble. Lobs it out. That's going to be very close for the first down at the 47-yard line as Green makes the catch and Tom Erlinson makes the tackle.
Well, again, you saw Matt Stevens stepping up into the pocket. Every time he has dropped back to pass the ball, he's never had a real opportunity to deliver the ball downfield. He's always had to move up into the pocket. 8 of 21. I'll tell you, that didn't really tell the story because he really should not be playing. He took that tremendous hit, and one of his attributes is not necessarily his arm, but his competitiveness. He wants to be in here with the last 6 minutes of the ball game to give his team a chance to win.
Here's the stretch.
It's the first down.
And that's good for a first down for UCLA.
It was a similar game like this a few weeks ago against Arizona. Late in the ball game, Matt Stevens took quite a hit. Shook off the injury and led his team to a come-from-behind win.
There's just so much riding on this ball game. Not the Rose Bowl, but a variety of January 1st bowl games and other bowl opportunities for both these teams. Here's Green to the 50, down after a gain of 2. Gaston Green trying to stretch the streak to 5 consecutive games in which he's rushed for 100 or more. UCLA has not won here but twice. Has only won twice here since 1960. Once in 76, once in 78.
Some of that is Don James's coaching. Some of that is a hostile environment, which you don't get much in the Pac-10.
We're tied right now with 5:04 to go. Second down and 7. Gaston Green. That might be enough to move the chain again.
Boy, again, we talk about Jim Lambright, the defensive coordinator from Washington, real concerned about the last 6 or 7 minutes of the ball game if it were a close game and Gaston Green's ability to kind of step to the forefront then.
Well, are they gonna bring the chain out? Arkansas knocks off the Aggies 14-10. That confuses the Southwest Conference race. A&M can still get there if they beat TCU in Texas. Wisconsin loses to Ohio State. Alabama wins over Temple. And Clemson leads Maryland 14-10. Baylor over Rice. Tennessee knocks off Ole Miss. First down for UCLA. 4:43. David Franey prowls the sidelines in case he's needed. He has had one block and missed another.
That's right. You wonder about his psychology right about now.
Washington 7-2. UCLA 6-3 coming into the game. Gaston Green 32nd carry, and Reggie Rogers puts the shoulder into him and makes the tackle after a 4-yard gain. Clock shows 4:15 and running right now.
David Franey is up now, getting ready to practice his kicks as well. One of the things that Franey has going for him, he's got one of the best holders in college football in David Clinton, number 19. One of those positions you don't think much about, but it's a tough job to do. David Clinton, his holder, does it, I think, as well as anybody.
David Clinton is the man who held for 4 years, or all those years, for John Lee. Second down, Gaston Green. That's close to another first down on his 33rd carry of the day.
Okay, I think he got somebody hurt here again. Looks like, is it Tennell? Looks like Derek Tennell to me.
Yes, it is. There's the tight end who has a touchdown catch in this half off of the throw from Matt Stevens. Left knee problem.
Boy.
Well, this is a far cry atmospherically from where UCLA usually resides in Los Angeles. Let's take a look now at the UCLA campus.
Third and short. Up the middle they go. Marcus Greenwood, the senior fullback out of Bakersfield, playing in place of the injured Mel Farr, Jr. And that's enough to move the chain again for the Bruins.
Center Joe Goebel did a nice job there, just creating enough room for Greenwood to pick up the half yard for the first down that he needed.
Clock shows 3:26 remaining. First down 10, UCLA. Wind behind them in a 14-14 game. From the 30, throw play. Green comes left. Bo Yates is a part of the tackle with help from Reggie Rogers. Take a look now at what's going on in the Southwest Conference. The Aggies got knocked off by Arkansas. That confuses things a little bit, and Baylor defeated Rice 23-17. Aggies now lead with a 5-1 record. Arkansas and Baylor at 5-2 and mathematically still alive in the chase for the Cotton Bowl host spot. A&M has TCU and Texas left. Second down and 7. 14-14 game here. Stevens has completed 8 passes. Will not throw it now. Greenwood gets the handoff, and now Stevens probably will have to throw it from the 27 on third and about 6.
I'm not so sure he'll throw it.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
3rd and 6. Again, you want to give Franey a chance. You can't afford the sack. You can't afford the turnover, of course. We've had lots of turnovers. Franey's longest kick, remember, is 46 yards. And he's missed one from this hash mark, too. I think you move the ball into the center of the field, try to pick up 3 or 4 yards.
There's Franey, 1 block, 1 miss so far today. But other than today, he's had a terrific season. And the clock is under the 2-minute mark. It's 3rd and 6. Bruins trying to win here for only the 3rd time since 60. Gaston Green. And Franey will get his chance. It'll be 4th down in the middle of the field at the 25.
I'm sure that was Terry Donahue's thinking. Don't put the ball up, risk the interception or the sack, get the ball in the middle of the field, give Franey a chance. Now, David Franey, remember, replaced John Lee. Franey has never been in a position to try to win a ball game for his team.
David Clinton, the holder, still talking with Terry Donahue, and now they'll call timeout. And you can't overemphasize the impact of that man, number 19.
Well, being the holder is one of those things you don't get any credit. Only time anybody ever talks about you is when you make a mistake. But he's got to catch the ball on a cold day on a snap with a big rush for a team that's already blocked one of your kicks. He's got to put the ball down right where he marks it, and he's got to get the laces turned. I think it's a very difficult job.
And in the meantime, Franey in isolation out in the middle of the field. Now Clinton breaks and comes onto the field.
Now, I was just going to think perhaps Washington might call a timeout in return, but I don't think they will because they need to save their last 2 timeouts. Because with 1:33 left, they're going to get a chance to have the ball back.
Pat and I had a chance to do a Cardinal game early in the NFL season where John Lee now earns his work. He said, boy, do I miss David Clinton. Isn't that something? 160 snaps. Clinton will hold. This will be a 42-yard effort, center of the field. With 93 seconds remaining and bowl games on the line. Got it!
I'll tell you, you have to be happy for David Franey. Regardless of whether you're rooting for Washington or not, and from the fact that here's a guy who missed 2 field goals here today. The triumph for the young man. Never had to put his team, never was put in a position like that and just came through. But the difference, I think, was the play before. They set this one up in the middle of the field. They allowed him to kick this one from the middle. When he missed earlier, he was on the hash mark. That thing is, there's no doubt about that one.
Now let's watch the reaction.
A little bit different than it was before. Clinton getting the ball down and the laces turned as well.
And as a result of Franey's 42-yard effort, the Bruins again on top. 3rd time today they have led. This time by only 3 with 1:29 remaining.
And the Huskies have 2 timeouts remaining. Plenty of time. They've got a quarterback with a big, strong arm and a very good kicker in Jet Jaeger. May break the NCAA record.
We come to you live from Husky Stadium, a sellout crowd on an overcast day, a 17-14 game as Alfredo Velasco gets set to kick off. I'm Vern Lundquist along with Pat Hayden. We have Bull Scouts here from the Cotton, the Fiesta, the Citrus, the Gator, and a trick play by the Washington Huskies. As Brian Slater gets it from Franklin on the left side, and UCLA was all over that. And there's also a flag down.
I'll tell you, that is good discipline by the UCLA coverage team, because I certainly didn't expect that. And generally, you don't expect that from Don Jane's type of teams.
14-yard line by Daryl Henley.
Henley made the tackle, and now the discussion goes on with 1:20 remaining in the game. Craig Rutledge. Face mask, Washington.
They're going to have a long way to go against a defense they have not been successful against all day long.
And into the wind.
And into the wind. It's a good brisk wind right about now. And they really need to win this game, a touchdown, to get themselves into a
foul, face mask on the return team. First down.
To get themselves into a January 1st bowl.
And again, we have Bowl Scouts here from the Cotton, the Fiesta, and the Citrus, all three New Year's Day bowls. In addition, the Sun Bowl is here, the Freedom Bowl is here, and the Gator Bowl is here. Here's Chandler from the end zone, left side. Man gets out of bounds. Rod Jones, the tight end.
Last year against USC, Chris Chandler was in a similar situation. 98 yards away from a touchdown to beat USC, led his team down, converted 2 fourth-down conversions to beat Southern Cal. A similar situation for him right now.
Saw Jeff Jager on the sideline. Here's the junior out of Everett. 1:13 remaining. Chandler goes deep. Ball is caught at the 40. And Darrell Franklin slips and falls before he can get out of bounds.
That's exactly right. Great throw, terrific catch, but he couldn't get the clock stopped. There are 2 timeouts remaining for Washington. Plenty of time.
And the clock stops in college ball while they reset the first down chain. So that allows Washington to get at the line of scrimmage.
And Chris Chandler's got his team ready to go as soon as the clock starts.
Now it does. Chandler. Full man, Bruin rush. Chandler lets it go and overthrows his tight end, Rod Jones, on the left side. Exactly a minute remaining.
Now, what Washington needs to do is get the ball in the hands of either Franklin or Lonzel Hill while they're on the move. Again, across the grain, much like we saw Franklin just a couple of plays ago. Because both of those guys have the capability of running into the end zone after they catch it. They can outrun you.
Chandler has gone deep to Lonzel Hill 5 times today and has not yet found it. Play fake. Goes left side. Rod Jones out of bounds at the 48. That stops the clock. And a flag goes.
I think Rod Jones got a whack in the head there. Good call by the official. Good read there by Chandler, too, Vern, because double coverage on the outside, personal foul there. He got hit in the head. Number 31, Carnell Lake, is covering here Rod Jones. He's got him all over the field. Jones is going to catch the ball. Remember, double coverage on the outside, tight end's open. Lake comes to the helmet with the right hand, and that's a nice call by the official.
Red ball, personal foul, defense, first down.
The first down comes at the 37-yard line. Washington has 2 timeouts left. 53 seconds to go, 17-14. UCLA lead. Chandler, secondary receiver, Franklin in the end zone, overthrown. Darrell Franklin, the junior from Tacoma. That stops the clock with 47 seconds to go.
Well, you got to keep the ball inbounds to give your athletic wide receivers just a chance. I know he didn't want. Chandler's concerned about the interception, but give your wide receivers, guys with great athletic ability, at least a chance to go up for the ball in the end zone.
There's Skip Hall. He's the defensive coordinator. Looking on. 17-14. 47 seconds to go. Huskies have never led in this game. They have the ball at the UCLA 37. Play fake. Deep into double coverage. And it's there. Overthrown again. Hill had about a step in the end zone.
You know, sometimes you have to throw it into double coverage because you have a belief in a guy. Chris Chandler obviously has a belief in Lonzel Hill because he really shouldn't have thrown the ball. You see the 2 guys there, but there's a little gap right there in the center of the field, and that's exactly where he's trying to throw it. And again, threw the ball for the 2nd time out of the end zone. You got to give your man a chance to go up for it. The tight end, again, was wide open there.
3rd down and 10, and they are outside, I think, the field goal range. Be about a 54-yarder into the wind. I don't think they've got a shot with that.
Rod Jones, the tight end, has been open the last 2 plays.
He's in the right side. Chandler lets it go left side. Ball is caught. First down at the 24-yard line. Darryl Franklin.
Chris Chandler is doing a nice job of trying to find the guy that has a chance to catch the ball. Even though he's thrown in double coverage some, he's trying to give his guys an opportunity. This time, Franklin has single coverage from Chucky Miller. Chucky Miller protecting the end zone. The big play allows the first down.
First down from the 24 with 35 seconds to go. Chandler, 17 completions so far. Pumps once, rolls out, pulls up. He lets it go. Incomplete pass. Jeff Jaeger missed 2 last week. He's within 4 of breaking John Lee's NCAA record, 13 of 17. His longest so far this year is 45, but he hasn't hit one in a couple of weeks.
And this is a real predicament for Don James, too, because I don't think a tie will get him into a January 1 bowl.
That's a real good point. 28 seconds to go, 2nd and 10. And again, the play fake. Good protection across the middle, across the 15. They have 2 timeouts left, and now they signal timeout with 19 seconds to go. Watch Lonzel Hill in isolation.
I'll tell you, this is pretty good defense, so give some credit to Lonzel Hill and Chris Chandler. He is not really wide open. You see the defensive backs release the inside route to the free safety. That's Alan Dial. And that ball's right on the numbers. And I'll tell you, Hill does a great job of concentration because Dial is smacking at the ball.
1 timeout to go and 19 seconds remaining in the game.
And again, the point is that Don James is thinking January 1 bowl. How does he do that? He has to win the football game. You've got to get the ball into the end zone with at least 2 or 3 passes. Give your guys a chance. A tie, of course, will get him into a bowl game, but not a January 1 game.
The shakiness of the camera is a reflectiveness of what the stands are doing right now with these people thumping and stomping, hoping that Washington can come from behind and win this. 19 seconds remaining.
And again, I just have to think of that game a year ago where really Chris Chandler really developed, really matured as a quarterback when he led his team from behind to beat USC 98 yards away.
Well, the Huskies now with a 3rd and 2. Here comes Chandler. And Franklin and Hill and Jones and the rest of the Huskies. And the sun starts to come out. Penn State wins it over Notre Dame 24-19. They'll be ranked 2nd next week. 3rd and 2. Chandler pumps once. He'll scramble. He's got a first down and goal from the 8. 10 seconds remaining, 11, and timeout has been called.
I tell you, that's a nice play by Chandler because he knew he had a 3rd and 1. He had to pick up the first down. Just took it right upfield, picked up 8-9 yards. After he got tackled, one of the other players on the team called the timeout.
UCLA leads it by 3. There are 3 New Year's Day Bull Scouts here. Washington probably would not get an invite to a January 1 bowl unless they win. They need Jaeger to tie.
Again, I think they've got to at least attempt 2 passes into the end zone for the win.
Terry Donahue's team now leads by 3, but he wants one more consultation with his defensive unit. Greg Bolin. Craig Rutledge just to the left.
I think what he is telling them is if anybody gets the ball and is short of the end zone, of course, just lay on top of them. Let the 11 seconds run out.
Almost miraculously, as Chandler was rushing for the first down, the sun breaks through.
Don James can do that up here.
Unbelievable. First and goal from the 9, 11 seconds to go. Washington is out of timeout. intended for Hill. 7 seconds to go. They might have time for one more play before they've got to try the field goal.
Again, double coverage, but again, you have to give your best player a chance. That's just what they did. It was a fine throw. Lonzel Hill, it's a little fade pattern to the outside. See how he left himself a lot of room? He left the quarterback a lot of room to throw the ball. Well thrown, a little bit high. Perhaps had a decent chance of catching the ball.
Hill will go left. Franklin comes right. Second and goal. Again, a two-step drop. Same play, right side, incomplete. This time intended for Darryl Franklin. 3 seconds to go, and here comes Jeff Jager.
Well, I think maybe you underthrow a ball like that, give your receiver a chance to come back, because the defensive receiver can't see the ball. Underthrow it, give him a chance.
So Don James has opted to try for the tie. Into the wind. And the field goal effort will come from the 17-yard line. A 27-yard attempt by Jeff Jager, who missed 2 last week, has had real problems with his left ankle. And now a timeout is called.
Now, obviously, UCLA is going to come out with a full-out rush. And what they have to be careful of course, is running into the kicker.
So Jager stands in the middle of the field. Don James looks on. As Chandler tried Hill to the left side with a fade pattern, came back with the same play right side for Darryl Franklin.
Carnell Lake has been the man for UCLA who's had the most success this year blocking punts and kicks. He has 2 of those.
Well, we'll watch him. In the back of your mind, Pat, do you think James might think about New Year's Day versus some other bowl, and he's going to go for it to lose?
No, I don't think so. I think at this point in the game, he's going to go for the tie. But,
okay, no chance for the fake field goal.
Well, I mean, I don't think so. I would be very, very surprised. But obviously he was thinking earlier in the game, that January 1st bowl. That's why you saw so many passes into the end zone. Those fade patterns, though, that we just saw Chandler throw 2 of them, if you underthrow one, your receiver has a chance to go up. The defensive back never even has a chance to see him.
The last time these 2 teams tied was in 1951 when Don Heinrich was the Husky quarterback. He's now calling the play on the radio. Here's Jager out of Chandler's hold. The quarterback is the holder, and the breeze momentarily subsides. Now picks up a little bit again. From 27 yards out for the tie. Up. Good. And time has expired. Now it's up to the Ball Scouts. Is 7-2-1 as attractive as 8-2?
Clutch kick there, obviously, by Jager, but it's a tough. Nobody really feels good about this, I guarantee you. Don James or Terry Donahue. There's Franey and Jager right there talking to one another. Never a doubt. The UCLA team decided really not to put the rush on. They were concerned about the fake.
There's Don James on the sideline. Oh, he really showed a lot of emotion, didn't he? But Jeff Jager, who had missed those 2 last week, gets his first today, and that ties it up with no time left. I think you're absolutely right. Neither Donahue nor James is going to be thrilled with that.
What an impressive drive by Washington there at the end of the ball game.
So as Don James walks off toward the Husky locker room, his team is now 8-2-1. And UCLA is 6-3-1. Each team with 1 remaining, and the bowl bids coming out shortly. Now let's go back to New York and Jim Nance.
All right, Vern, and to further punctuate that point, that's a tie by Washington. Most likely will keep them on New Year's Day, but for UCLA at 6-3-1 and a game remaining, they probably will not get a New Year's Day bowl bid. The big story today, Minnesota beats Michigan, handing the Wolverines their first loss of the year, ending their national championship hopes. We'll come back, take a look at that game and all the rest of the scores after this word from your local stations.